This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio with Stuart Cameron.
And welcome to Hewenden for this week's Borders Rugby Special. Hewenden used to be the venue for Glasgow in the old inter-district championships from days gone by, but it's a very different place now. The big stand is long gone. There's a new smaller stand which holds about 150 people, and it's now the home of Hillhead Jordan Hill in National 3. So not exactly a high-profile venue, particularly for a Scottish Cup semi-final, but because the Glasgow Hawks ground is currently an athletics track, we've had to switch from Bulgrey to here. Well, Robin Purdy and Sam Matthews have made the trip with me, and it's always nice to visit new grounds. And for those who haven't been able to make the journey today, we're delighted to have you with us for exclusive live commentary of Glasgow Hawks versus Hawick, with the prize for the winner a place in the final at BT Murrayfield against either Ayr or Mar, who will also be playing, of course, this afternoon at Millbrae, which is where we were a couple of weeks ago when Ayr beat Selkirk in the quarter-final. Well, Sam Matthews joins me now, and Sam, this is a bit of a challenge, really, isn't it, for both sides, playing such a high-profile match on a third division pitch, although looking at it at the moment, it would certainly grace any Premiership.
Yeah, well, when we arrived as well, it was nice and sunny, and I got a quick walk out just down the touchline nearest to this bag stand here, and dry underfoot. There was a bit of dew on the grass itself, so I think it'll be a case of after the first 10-15 minutes, when the boys have managed to cart their studs around, have got a bit of the ground churned up, it should be a bit more for playing rugby. But as in typical fashion, the second we hit broadcast, the dark clouds came over, but it has been a lovely day so far today.
Yeah, I was going to say, glorious conditions, fantastic for running rugby. I'm looking at the trees over on the left-hand side there, and not a flicker.
No, yeah, pretty still. So, and then we're watching Kirkford warm up his kicks here, and they're going pretty straight as an arrow. So it might be down to his talent, but also, there's no wind that he's having to contend with so far.
Hawick still unbeaten. They've carried their bat all the way through the season. They've got potentially 2 more to go, and then they can, I don't know if you can call them invincibles because they did have a draw, but certainly unbeaten throughout the season. They've had the Bill McLaren Shield all season as well, and that's travelled up with them from Mansfield Park today, which they'll be hoping it will also travel back with them for that time. But it really has been a phenomenal season, and these guys, this squad of players on the pitch at the moment, they're going to go into Hawick history.
Yeah, well, first of all, you can call them the Invincibles. I think Arsenal claimed it in the football team, and they had a few draws, so if they're claiming it, we'll let Hawick claim it. But yeah, like you said, unbelievable team. I was actually a bit giddy when you told me I was doing this game this week, because I've yet to see this Hawick team play in person this year, so I've been very excited. Obviously, our wonderful broadcast and footage have allowed me to keep up to date with them, but you look at the names and where they've been playing this season. Boys have been playing down in Newcastle, people like Jay Linton, so like you said, these names are going to go down in history in the town. They're going to be loved, and they're going to be remembered for a long while, especially if they get these final 2 games across.
Yeah, and a lot of these names, were unknowns at the start of the season, so they've come through, and their profile has been raised right up.
Yeah, and even the new ones you talk about, we were talking in the car up here, you, Robin and I, about Ethan Riley and players like that came straight in. They were crying out for a centre like Ethan Riley, and he has been, like you say, he's been phenomenal. He's slotted right in, and he's looked like he's lived in Hawick all his life. He gets on with everybody, he plays fantastic rugby. What's not to like about him? Now,
Hawick haven't played, of course, for the last 3 weeks or so, because their quarter-final match against GHK was cancelled. GHK withdrew, so no rugby for them there. So are they coming in a bit undercooked here?
You'd say so. You want to keep it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's like, you've got rest, you've got injury, recovery after a long season. They've played. They've not played as many games as somebody in National 2 with the league structure, but I'll leave you and Dale to talk about that on the Thursday preview show. But you have these players that get the chance to get back from injury. Even just rested legs make such a difference. You're not waking up on a Monday and thinking, oh, work's going to be a bit tough today when legs are sore. And yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword. You're definitely going to be undercooked. They'll probably put a real emphasis on simple skills in the warm-up. Making sure the hands are warm, making sure everything's accurate, making sure limber, suppleness, everything will be checked. But a double-edged sword. They will not be. It will take them a while to build into the game. I don't think they'll hit the ground running from the first whistle.
It's going to be very interesting. We'll be hearing from both coaches later on in the programme. But let's look at what else is going on this afternoon around the country. There are certainly some big ones. Yesterday I sat down with Dale Clancy to go over them, starting in National 1 with Kelso visiting Highland, where they know that 1 point will give them promotion to the Premiership for the first time since a very long time. I think it was actually the 1999 season. There's been a lot of debate about when it was, to be honest, but we've been trying to find out, and so many different answers, but one day we will. But because of their 87 points difference that they have, even if they lose, they should be able to stay above Ayr, even if Ayr win their final 2 games with bonus points. Let's hear then from Kelso Director of Rugby, Neil Hinnigan.
We go up there in good spirits. Few people missing. Andy Tate's unavailable. Ewan Knox is suspended. Liam Herdman's still out injured, unfortunately. And the Southern Knights have taken Cammy Thompson away as a back row cover for their match on Saturday. So, we'll miss him as well. So, a few changes. Grant Shields starts at number 1 with Charlie Marshall, Alan Frame, Angus Cumming, Keith Melbourne, Archie Cowens, Cammy Brown and Bruce McNeil make up the pack. Nick Stingle comes in at 9, Murray Hastie, Frankie Robson, Dwayne Patterson, Angus Roberts, Hamish Tweedy comes in on the wing, and fullback is Greg Ponton. Making up the replacements is Ashton Asante, Terry Logan, Liam Tate, Murray Woodcock and Mark Wilson. So good opportunity for everyone that's going up there. A few people going up to support, I think. So we'll hopefully can get a good result up there.
Neil Hinnigan, you can sense the nervousness of the situation there. It's been a long, long time since Kelso were at the top table of Scottish rugby. They need just that 1 point to secure promotion, but they have a plus 87 points difference between them and Ayr. So even if they lose, Ayr are going to have to put a lot of points on Gala and Stumel on the road to catch them. Of course, with Gala and Stumel having nothing to play for, that is a possibility. But remember, Kelso have never ended a match this season without at least a point secured. But we do know Highland have only lost 2 games at home this season, and of course it's on a 3G pitch, and Kelso aren't great fans of 3G pitches.
No, but I think that they've got themselves in a great position, and we've always said this about points on the board, and Ayr obviously have a lot of work to do, but I don't think that really matters when it's in your hands. Like, Kelso know what they need to do, and still going up with a strong squad. You can hear the frustration in Neil's voice about some of the players that aren't available.
Cammy Thompson in particular.
Cammy Thompson, let's speak about Herdman, perhaps. Herdman is a quality player. When he's came back into the squad, he's really shown, his value to Kelso. He's a Premiership player. Cammy Thompson is a Premiership player as well, but obviously he's not going to be in the squad. And, you can hear the frustration because although they've got themselves into a great position, you want to finish the job. And I think there's always going to be that little nervousness until that final whistle goes, until you know your points tally. If you've done enough, there's still going to be the nerves there. They might be winning 30 points to 0 at half time. The nerves will settle slightly, but they'll still be lingering in the background because Kelso know how big this game is. So will Highland. You talk about teams that haven't got anything to play for. They've got a lot to play for. Highland have got the chance to really upset the odds here and completely take the wind out of Kelso's sails. If Kelso leave with nothing, then, it's over Ayr. Crack on, try and get into the Premiership. But, I don't think it'll happen. It's unlikely that it's going to happen. But, Kelso have had a phenomenal season. They're a team that have had their problems and they've had their issues and their difficult games. Their moments against likes of Gala when they got beat at home. I genuinely thought when they got beat at home at Gala, I thought might be where the wheels fall off. There was the 3 games, Gala, Melrose and Ayr, and I said they'll get a beat in at least one of them. I didn't think it'd be the Gala game, and then I got nervous for the next 2 because I do want to see Kelso go up. I was speaking to somebody as well, and they were mentioning about somebody claimed that they didn't feel I was a Gala fan as such, and I've always said that over the last few years Gala and Kelso have not been the most attractive teams to watch, but now they've got such a brand of rugby. They're good teams to watch. And Kelso and Gala both, especially in that game, showing how far they've come over the last few years. I'm a rugby fan. But I want to now see Kelso get over that line. All the other Border teams can't go up. Kelso can. So, I'm backing Kelso, all behind them, want them to get at that point. If they go up there and get 5 points, Neil said they're in good spirits. They'll be bloody great spirits coming back down. There'll be plenty of spirits flying about on the bus on the way back if they get that win. So, fingers crossed Kelso are able to get that over the line. You think of it now, when rugby's changed, like things have evolved and adapted over time. Hawick, Jed, Selkirk, Kelso, Premiership teams next year. What a league that would be for us.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Now, Neil and I have had a bit of banter over the last couple of weeks as well, because I think 87 points difference is fine. I think that's going to be okay. He doesn't. He looks at kind of Gala, obviously got nothing to play for, Stumel nothing to play for, but Stumel and Inverleith have been really quite good this season. They've lost by just a couple of points. They've picked up losing bonus points at home in matches that they could have they could have easily won. They also scored a try bonus and a losing bonus point at home to Melrose, scoring 28 points just a couple of weeks ago, and that's whilst they were relegated. So I don't think any of the teams are just going to lie down and let Ayr kick them over with loads of points. I mean, yes, it could happen theoretically. You've also got the fact that if Ayr do win the cup semi-final, then they're going to put all their efforts into the final. So it's a really interesting balance. But as Neil says, we've got to get 1 point and that's it.
Yeah, and I think when we were at the semi-final between Ayr and Selkirk, when we were speaking after the game to various Ayr players, coaches, club members, the result that came through for Kelso was a complete kick in the nuts, because they knew it was very, very unlikely. And even the captain was saying, well, we're still in the cup, we'll concentrate on the cup. They know that, it's highly, there's still a chance. They know it's highly unlikely that they're going to go up. But, it's difficult when you say teams have got nothing to play for. And I've been in this position as well, that you've got nothing to play for, but you're playing a team that are potentially going for promotion, and that's your incentive. Prove other people wrong. Everybody will be saying, nobody will be giving Highland much of a chance, but Highland will be going, well, look, our backs are against the wall, it's a free swing, we've got nothing to play for, and sometimes teams play a lot better when the gloves are off like that. So that's the beauty about rugby. That's the beauty about all sport. You can predict and call it as much as you want. You be bold with your predictions as well, put your neck on the line to say, I think Kelso will go up there and win, which I do, and if they don't, so what, I'm wrong. It's sport, but I genuinely think he'll go up there and they'll get the victory.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Preston Lodge last week at Falkirk. Who would have seen the fact that Preston Lodge would have got 2 bonus points, which now changes the dynamics of National 2, which we'll come to very, very shortly. There's lots to talk about this programme, there really are. And Andrew Fleming, by the way, will be our man at Inverness. He's going up by the train there and coming back on the bus. That's if we ever see him again, if they actually win, of course. But he'll be up there covering that one for us. Melrose are at home to Dundee for another dead rubber in National 1, but Bert Grigg wants to bow out as head coach with a win.
So we're looking forward to what is our final 15s game of the season, home to Dundee. Obviously, in terms of league, things are at our control in terms of promotion and stuff like that, but still an opportunity for us to finish as high as we can in National 1, and that's certainly something that we'll be striving for. Also an opportunity for a few youngsters, a few other boys, give them an opportunity for some rugby, but going in with full intentions of putting out a solid performance and finishing off our 15th season on a high with a good home win versus Dundee.
So hard really for both teams to get any enthusiasm up for this one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty short and sweet to speak about this game, because Melrose were almost in the hunt for promotion, and then it kind of fell off when they went down to Poynter Park, and since then they focused on the Border League, came up short in that, and then you start focusing on sevens, and really the 15s is an inconvenience at this stage, and everybody speaks about it, and there's no answer, because you just have to get on with it. You have to get on with it, battle through. Clubs need to work together to try and find the best solution. Players are sick of it. You're having conversations all the time about, I feel sorry for teams playing towards the end of the year, end of April, speaking to Greg Rayburn, and they've still got Kirkcaldy to play, then they're done, so they're quite glad about that, but still some teams have got a couple of weeks, 3 weeks of playing 15s rugby, which is absolutely ridiculous at this stage. So yeah, it's just a game, get it over and done with, get up the road, and then they can probably focus on the sevens, and certainly in the Kings of the Sevens table, they've got a good squad. They performed pretty well at Melrose Sevens as well. You know, so they've certainly got a chance. It's quite a level playing field in the Kings of the Sevens this year.
Well, also a dead rubber for Gala. They've got a long trek to Aberdeen Grammar, who are already relegated. And as we hear now from Craig Dodds, 10-team leagues can't come soon enough.
We make the long trip north to Aberdeen this week in a rearranged fixture that's now ended up being obviously the 15th of April. Definitely now at the stage of believing in these 10-team leagues. There's no way that National League clubs certainly should be playing rugby at this time of year. We've obviously got another 15s game next week, but I don't envy the guys that are having to play at the end of April to finish off their leagues. So bring on the 10-team leagues and hopefully that'll sort it for us. But having said that, it gives an opportunity for a couple of Wands boys to come in, a couple of under-18s that have been cleared to play senior rugby. It gives them the opportunity to come in and put the right foot forward in terms of getting themselves ahead of next season and getting integrated within the squad. Listen, we're obviously missing a few guys. Marius he's playing for Stirling this week again, which is great in terms of Super 6, and it's great for him and his development. Obviously makes it a bit more difficult around our selection, but listen, we're going to support him in doing that as well and playing at the highest level. So we'll hopefully come away with a result from Aberdeen and then go to Berwick Sevens on Sunday before we have to obviously cover the Ayr game next Saturday and Langham Sevens. So there'll be opportunities for guys both weeks to put the right foot forward, and in terms of the under-18s and some of the senior guys that have maybe played second-team rugby this year.
Well, he's hit the nail on the head, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it is ridiculous that these teams are, you know, still playing 15s rugby. We just spoke about it there a minute ago, but I don't see the purpose or the point in it. It's in hindsight, isn't it? It's, you know, we've had these leagues for a while. We've had COVID. We've had restructures before that as well. But there's no reason as to why, you know, teams like Gala, Ayr, Melrose, Peebles, Berwick, you know, all these teams that are playing national rugby, you know, there's no reason why they're treated any differently to the likes of Hawick and Curry and Edinburgh Accies, because players don't want to be playing additional games. They want to play rugby. They want it well structured. They want it well mapped out, because life's busy. And, you know, life's busy. Craig Dodds is explaining about going up to Aberdeen, and he's obviously got a new arrival imminently due, you know, so, you know, it's a complete, that can't be helped, but, you know, it's a complete inconvenience sometimes to players, and you wonder why some players walk away from the game, you know, because they want to either focus on sevens, or they're getting asked to play midweek, then get to play on the weekend, they're injured, or, you know, something happens that means that they can't go to work. It's so complicated. Where now you get the 10-team leagues, and obviously with the new league structure in the Stuart Cameron Cup that we'll be playing next year.
No, it won't.
We'll, you know, I think that answers a lot of questions. And then the regional stuff and the Scotland Club Internationals and the Super Series, it all then has its place. As a rugby fan, you can then start to engage in what you want and what you don't want, as opposed to coming at the weekend and going, there's Club 15s on, there's Melrose Sevens, there's the Super Series as well. You know, there's age grade rugby, there's women's rugby on. What am I going to watch? Get the club game over and done with, and then the people that are going to support your, you know, be the biggest supporters of your rugby, get them in a position that they can support teams that they want to watch. So, you know, definitely 10-team leagues are I don't know, I see Craig said it's taken a bit of convincing for him, obviously, but yeah, I'm with him. 10-team leagues is the way forward.
Yeah, which of course it will be. So, I mean, let's see what happens next year. Obviously, the wheels go very, very slowly. It's down to the clubs ultimately, not the SRU. And of course, clubs have their own agendas. They want to play inter-district rugby. Some of them want to do it in January, February. Others, they want to do it after the season. There's a lot of people to convince.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes that is the worst thing, is when clubs, you know, you might get the buy-in for most of the clubs, and it might be the right idea, but when people do have their own agenda or their own ideas, it's maybe not, you know, it's difficult to say their own agenda, because that's me then just assuming that you're right. You know, it's sometimes people see different things differently, but it's sometimes the complexities that they bring about with that make it really, really difficult to get good ideas through. You know, and I find that it's frustrating, because it's been notorious in the Borders, you know, with the history that you've got in the Borders. There's some people have created that history, some people have maintained that history, some people want their position in history. So it depends where the clubs are, but there's always somewhere in a little pod somebody who disagrees. You know, for their own reasons or for whatever. And
that's absolutely fine, but you have to look at the big picture, and I think the big picture will evolve when the majority of clubs actually see it the right way.
The 10-team leagues and the cup structure, I think it is a good way forward, and it's probably that progressive way to say this is going to improve. You know that won't be the end product, because it will evolve and adapt, but, you know, sometimes teams, they do make things very, very difficult. Clubs make things difficult, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they make things difficult. It's their game. It's their game to try and create and manipulate and manufacture and change and adapt to whatever way suits them. And if it doesn't work, it's the club's fault.
And of course, clubs do, some of them want a bit of a break during what is normally the autumn test. Of course, it's World Cup year that we're going into. So the way I kind of see it and think it will go we'll probably be starting all the leagues the first week in September. And there will be kind of a natural break coming up to, the World Cup and all the things that are happening round about that time. There's an argument for bedding down the 10-team leagues, first of all, before that happens. Okay, on to Berwick now. And they've been keeping us on the edge of our seats all season with some brilliant wins and some frustrating losses as well. No doubt they should have been much higher up the league, I think, this season, but they've had some really unfortunate close losses, and they find themselves battling it out now with Preston Lodge to survive the 5-team drop out of National 2. Here's head coach Colin Young.
This weekend we'll welcome last week to Scremerston in I suppose really a must-win game. We've got 2 games left to play, and if we want to stay up in this division, we need to really win both of them. With PL last weekend picking up 2 valuable points away to Falkirk. We're much the same as what we've been most of the season. Jack Webster's coming back after an eye injury from our last game out. Unfortunately, we are missing Alec off for what I would say is the softest red card I've ever seen in my life. How anybody can deem that as a red card is beyond me. So we're still waiting for the SRU to sanction his suspension or ban. So we were without Alex, but we welcome back in Ben Nicholson, who wasn't playing up at Glasgow Hawks, into the squad. So fingers crossed we can get the 2 results that we require between last week and Preston Lodge the following weekend to stay in National 2.
So here's the deal. Preston Lodge managed an unexpected but hard-fought 2 points at promotion favourites Falkirk last week. That means the result of the last week game for Berwick won't actually have any real significant effect on things, as it's likely to come down to who wins between Preston Lodge and Berwick next weekend, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, what a difference can a week makes. We were talking about the fixtures and talking about the fact that Berwick were targeting that last Wade game, and a win would probably keep them up, and all of a sudden it changes with one freak result, as we say. You can predict whatever you want, and it'll change within a week. So, you look at the league now, if it's difficult to look at a league and then try and pick out the bottom 5 teams and just say that they're getting relegated. It is a restructure, so, they're not going to be too far away from their level if they were to go down, but they know that those last 2 games are huge. A bad result this weekend makes it a really, really big challenge to try and go to PL and get that victory away from home. It's a difficult place to play. So, it's a huge, huge week. Berwick have done really well as well, and I just feel, we talk about those games that have been so narrow and so close that they've, it might be a penalty. Running Peebles close twice as well. You could essentially say there's 8 points there that they've, maybe not 8, maybe 6 points that they've given away there. They're the games that they could look back on and think that these are the games that could lose us our status in National 2. But they've done really well. They should be really proud of themselves to have the point tally that they do. Coming up a division, coming into a new league, accumulating that amount of points is just, the difficulty of the restructure means that they could fall into that trap door. Because any other year, a team coming up and finishing mid-table is progress. But it's just the kind of nature of the league. So 2 huge, huge games coming up for Berwick. And again, it's the same as I say about any other border team. I hope they get over the line. I hope they get that good result this weekend, and then they go up to PL and they put in a great performance, and whoever wins that one is going to stay in the division. And
it's interesting what you were saying right at the beginning there, because when we're planning our own coverage of games, 3 weeks ago we'd be looking, we might have to go to Highland here, whatever, or we might have to go to Berwick. And then all of a sudden, of course, Hawick's in the cup as well. We're going to try and cover everything as much as we can with very little resources. But we've got Andrew Fleming at at Kelso. As I said, we've got Mickey and Otter covering the Berwick game, and Rob and I going to with Sam Matthews to Glasgow.
It's not easy covering all these games. Like I just pitch up most of the time when you're speaking about rugby. It's a great, like, I love it, but obviously the logistics you have to go through, planning, organising people to go to games to provide the service that you do. It's absolutely phenomenal. We don't get that anywhere in Scottish club rugby. So it's great that it throws up these complications. But yeah, I hope Berwick get the win, and then it makes it a little bit easier to plan for the next few weeks.
Yeah, we're going to try and get someone at Preston Lodge anyway, as well as the Langham Sevens, but that's for 7 days' time. Meanwhile, let's go into the East League. Division 1, Duns are at home to Linlithgow, while in East 3, Harlequins can win promotion and the title if they get 2 points at Trinity Accies. Here's Captain Adam Hall.
Everyone at the club was really disappointed that the game didn't go ahead last weekend. We were all looking forward to having an opportunity to go and win the league at home. So it's a shame it didn't go ahead, but we've got the excitement back this week, and we've got a squad of 22 going up to Trinity to hopefully get the job done away from home this week. So we're optimistic that we'll have enough, hopefully, to win the game. Trinity are a bit of an unknown quantity. We've not played them this year, and they have picked up some good results, so we do expect them to be quite challenging at home. So it's not a foregone conclusion. We're going to have to go up there and put in a decent performance, and hopefully we can get the job done and enjoy the night.
Great season for them, and let's not forget as well that Harlequins were almost on the point of folding. They had a year off. They remember they won East League 1. They decided not to go for National League. A lot of their players decided to retire at that time. So after they decided that they had to have a year off, they were then put into East League 3, and they've battled their way back again. Great resilience from the club, to get back into that position that they're in. Obviously, a lot of players and a lot of personnel in the town have been really loyal to that club, which you expect in Hawick. You expect that in that environment, because they're so passionate about what they've got in Hawick, be it rugby, common riding, people that have left the town and been successful. So it's certainly in terms of being a place that you get the backing of the locals. It's a brilliant town. But Quins have got themselves back in a position that they can find success and start to build again, and get that that little kind of second lift, to breathe a bit of life back into the club, because it's certainly remarkable that a team can almost fold and they can have a year out, because most clubs, I think, especially lower down the leagues, if you have a year out, I think you'd be away. So great to see Hawick Quins getting a bit of success this season. Well, Galloway IM, they're playing at 11 a.m. at Inverness, as they're also in the Edinburgh Northern Sevens in the afternoon, which isn't ideal at all, and player coach Stuart Walker is clearly not happy.
It was another positive weekend for us. We did really well at the pre-qualification tournament at Melrose last Friday. We were pleased to beat Earlston. Obviously, Edinburgh Uni was a challenging game, and they were an excellent outfit and did well to get to the final. So we've learned a lot from that tie. And the Medics on Saturday in their 15s game probably gave them a bit too much respect, but we managed to come back into it and only lost by a point in the end. So again, pleased with that. Looking forward to this weekend. It's been a bit of a week of bureaucracy. We'd requested dispensation because we were already going to Edinburgh Northern Sevens, and unfortunately things didn't quite work out. So we've got our game against Inverness on Saturday morning, followed by another squad in the Sevens in the afternoon. Hopefully we can finish our 15s on high and go up and get the full points against Inverness. They'll be looking to get revenge from the last time we played, but we're positive we can go up and get the result. Afternoon, we've got the Northern Sevens, which we're excited about. Really targeted the Sevens this year, and we're hoping to go up there and make some progress in that tournament. We're looking forward to it. It's another own goal somewhere along the line, isn't it? That just shouldn't be happening. Yeah, totally shouldn't. I get his frustration. It's ridiculous that you've got to be able to play in the morning. And, he's saying, and another squad are going to play in the afternoon. The other squad will have players who played in the morning, and that is completely ridiculous. If all the players come through it and they're fine, that's great. But it's the engagement, it's the fun in it. It's like players, especially like to Galloway, like nobody will be getting any sort of financial contribution to play for that club. So to actually commit yourself to play a full 80 minutes and then try and play a sevens tournament, it's absolutely ridiculous. And for the fun, like, if you asked me to do that when I was as keen as I've been as a youngster, I wouldn't have wanted to do that. So
I just think it is completely ludicrous. Hopefully this is the last year that we've really got to bemoan this and complain about it, because hopefully the leagues and everything works a little bit better next year. I know the national leagues are restructured, but hopefully there's lessons learned this year, and there just needs to be a little bit more empathy in terms of clubs working together to find, and with the union as well, but finding a better place to play these. Like, why can these not be played on a Friday night or a Wednesday night or a training night? Get the games played midweek, because we've seen in the Border League final we got a good back in there because it was a little bit of a difference, in terms of getting a big crowd there on a Monday night. If there's games to be played, let's play them midweek. Clubs might not even like that. They might be saying, "Oh, Dale, go and shut up," because that's not going to be an option. But there has to be something different to stop players playing in the morning. They're not 12-year-old. These are 30-year-old, 40-year-old men sometimes. Their bodies are probably not as robust as they might have been when they were lively youngsters. So it's certainly something that needs to be avoided. But good on them, brilliant, well done for contributing to both of them. They against Earlston in the sevens they played well. Stuart said there, obviously against Edinburgh Uni it was a little bit more difficult. So good on them for contributing to all these things, and hopefully they come through this weekend unscathed and they can live to fight another day and continue in the sevens.
Well, let's move on with the announcement of the 39-man squad for the South, who take part in the revised Inter-District Championship, which will see them play Edinburgh at Netherdale on Tuesday the 9th of May. Let's bring you the squad details in that were announced at 1 o'clock today. The forwards, first of all: Andrew Cochrane, Selkirk; Bruce McNeil, Kelso; Callum Rennick from Hawick; Fraser Rennick from Hawick; Luke Petty, Selkirk; Paul Bogey, Musselburgh; Sean Fairbairn, Hawick; Andrew McComb, Selkirk; Bruce Riddle, Selkirk; Craig Owenson, Musselburgh; Jay Linton, Hawick; Matt Carrier, Hawick; Paulo Ferreira, Jed Forest; Sean Muir, Hawick; Angus Dunn, Gala; Callum Cruikshanks from Melrose; Dalton Redpath, Hawick; Liam Scott, Gala; Nicky Little, Hawick; Scott McClymont, Selkirk; and Stuart Graham from Hawick. In the backs, it's Aaron McComb, Selkirk; Ben Gill, Gala; Danny Owenson, Musselburgh; Gareth Welsh, Hawick; Liam Herdman, Kelso; Sandy Watt, Musselburgh; Andrew Mitchell, Hawick; Bruce Colvin, Melrose; Donald Crawford, Melrose; Gregor Young, Jed Forest; Paul Cunningham, Musselburgh; Struan Hutchison from Melrose; Angus Roberts, Kelso; Craig Dodds, Gala; Frankie Robson, Kelso; Kirk Ford, Hawick; and if you're Ronan McKean fans, yes, the last one, Ronan McKean from Hawick. That is the 39-man squad. It will be reduced to 32 before the games as well. But fantastic for all the people selected. Commiserations for those who aren't. You'll notice there are a third of the squad from Hawick, which you would kind of expect. But there's 6 from Musselburgh in there. Musselburgh, of course, are joining up. It was going to be called, I think, the South and East Lothian and all the rest of it. But the South held firm and said, look, it's the South. But Musselburgh are in. And, of course, they are south of Scotland.
Yeah, definitely. I think that they obviously need to find a place, and although we've got the history behind the South, it does line up well to what the pathways are now in Scottish rugby for the youth, players. But they still have to retain a little bit. So I'm glad that they've been able to, keep that, that South branding and that identity of the squad. So, it's not a surprise. Some of the names that you've seen in there, it's heavily Hawick. You've got an influence there of Selkirk as well, and Musselburgh, Premiership teams. And then after that, Jed probably are maybe not as well represented. Even though they're in the Premiership, it does signal that perhaps that there's players in other positions from Hawick, Selkirk and Musselburgh that are perhaps just a little bit better quality. But then it's littered with some from the national leagues as well, which is great to see. So, Kelso and Melrose and Gala getting really good representation in the squad. Years ago, you would have expected it to be completely the other way around. But it's great to see, and I think there's maybe an opportunity to have another couple of players in for that bit of experience for young players in a wider squad. But it's I think that there's nobody there that I was really surprised by. I wrote a list down of a team, and I think most of the players in this squad are Super Series now. So they've left Badenhorst I had in the starting lineup in the second row, so I'm not surprised to see him in there. Owenson as well from Musselburgh, really, really good players. But it's certainly, I think I counted as well, there's about 5 fly halves in the backs as well. So I think that in terms of the South brand of rugby, they're going to be chucking the ball about. They're going to be playing rugby. There's going to be good rugby players in there because the likes of McComb, Hutchison as well. And obviously you've got Craig Dodds in there, Kirk Ford, they can all play, Donald Crawford can play fly half, so they've got really a good blend of back. So I think when they start lineup, the first game, when I see that team sheet, it'll be interesting to see who gets the nod, but it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good addition. We complain about we complain about 15s rugby still being played at this time, and then you squeeze in a 15s competition, but it's slightly different, and I think if it works, which I want it to work, hopefully it'll find its place, because the competition itself, although they only play 2 games, there's the opportunity perhaps to play another game and have the round robin, the old inter-district. But it's going to be exciting to see these players pull on the South shirt.
Thank you to Dale Clancy. Well, by the way, that game between Inverleith and Galloway M was postponed today. Not really surprising. Galloway M will no doubt be at the Edinburgh Northern Sevens. There was a game last night, of course. Duns 7, Linlithgow 52. Duns looking still for their first win of the season in East League 1. Well, after the break, we're going to be meeting up with the coaches from both teams in today's Scottish Cup semi-final game between Glasgow Hawks and Hawick.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
Hi, Nicky Walker here, Curriculum Manager for Borders College Sport. Are you passionate about sport? If so, then look out for the return of our Borders College rugby, football and hockey courses in early 2023.
Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
To commemorate the 7th anniversary of the opening of the Borders Railway, an 8 DVD box set is now available featuring the complete series Borders Railway from start to finish, plus the full hour-and-a-half documentary 5 Years On, which examines the possibility of an extension to Carlisle, plus extra features including a cab journey along the entire Borders Railway, all for the special price of just £14.99, including post and packing. You can get your copy direct from hotdisc.co.uk/shop. That's hotdisc.co.uk/shop. The 8 DVD box set, The Complete Borders Railway, is available now.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com for when the heavens open.
This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio.
Well, we're just under 20 minutes away from today's big game here at Hughenden between Glasgow Hawks and Hawick, but a short while ago I caught up with Andy Hill, head coach of Hawks, and first Hawick head coach Matty Douglas. Well, first of all, Matty, well done on reaching the semi-final. Quite an achievement, of course, going for that double. You didn't have a game against GHK. That game was called off, so effectively you got to buy straight through here. So the boys lacking a bit of rugby.
Yeah, look, at this time of the season it's always hard as well. We've had that high, the Premiership, and then you have to get back on the horse and you're into Cup rugby. But look, we've kept together well. Obviously, a couple of players have moved on to the Sprint Series, but the depth that we've got, we've been able to put a strong squad out today. And look, we were a wee bit disappointed we couldn't get a game on the GHK weekend, but we managed to have a session with the Boroughmuir Bears, which was really beneficial. And look, we've prepped well, and couldn't ask for a better day of the day, and it's now on us to get everything right.
Now, of course, this is a different pitch. Hillhead Jordan Hill's pitch. It looks pretty flat to me. The conditions perfect for running rugby. What's your own thoughts?
Yeah, look, we've just walked the pitch as a group of coaches, and it's in fantastic condition. There's a little bit of wind going down the hill, but look, it's going to be a bit of open rugby today, and we kind of got caught out with that in the Premiership final, if I'm being honest, and we've got a clear game plan today, and we'll be sticking to that. But you couldn't ask for a better day. It's two teams are gone for it, and it's just if we can get back on the horse and keep going for another week.
And looking at the team sheet, strong as ever.
Yeah, strong as ever, and the good thing is we've still got a lot of boys training and a lot of boys buying for places, and Tuesday night we had about 30 odd players there, and for this time of the season's unheard of, and a couple of boys getting another opportunity today. Sam Frizzle, been really pleased with him the last couple of weeks, and I was down watching against Kelso seconds, and he really stood out, and Luke Stuart Graham's got a ban today, so he gets an opportunity, and Lewis Ferguson comes back in as well. Obviously the bench, a couple of young players in there. Marcus Brogan comes in, but all these boys they've played a lot of Prem 1 rugby this year, so I'm hoping for a big impact off that bench today, especially with the conditions. I think it'll be quite it'll take a lot out the starters if it's a quick fast game, so they'll play a big part today.
Because this will be Marcus Brogan's debut if he comes on.
Yeah, it is. To be fair, he's not had much luck with us this season at Hawick. He came in at the start and got an injury playing sevens, and I think he didn't get back to rugby till about Christmas time, and through the academy we managed to get him duelled with Gala to get him some game time, and with Ross Graham moving on to Watsonians in the sprint, there's an opportunity here for him today to come into the squad, so he's trained the last 2 weeks, and look, he's a quality operator. He's 18-19, he's been around that Scottish setup, and he's just got a great rugby brain on him, so I'm looking forward to see how he goes at this level. He's unproven, but with me, I like to give these boys an opportunity.
Glasgow Hawks have been a bit of a bogey team in the past, no doubt about that, and of course they were the last team that actually came up to Mansfield Park in 2019, seems such a long time ago, and beat you there, but you beat them twice this season.
Yeah, I think what Andy does here. Hawks are they're a quality outfit, and probably at times you'll probably say sell this season. They've struggled to get results, and even the last couple of weeks they've got back to where they have been. But look, for us, as you say, we've beaten them twice, but they've been 2 physical encounters. And to be honest, a couple of weeks ago up here just across the road at Balgray, we struggled the last 15 minutes, so I know they'll take confidence for that. But look, we've got a game plan, we've got game management in there, we've got quality operators, and it's about confidence now, not being too big-headed, but at the end of the day we're Premiership champions, and we need to come here and go around our business with a professional attitude, and the boys have prepped well, and if we get that right, and try and out-muscle Hawks and play in the right areas, and hopefully we're on the right end of the result.
Well, the programme notes from Andy Hill sort of mentioned you as being favourites, which is right, of course. They're not expecting a great deal of ball. They're looking at, kind of, according to his notes, feeding off scraps, and you'll obviously be making sure that they don't get any scraps.
Yeah, look, I think if you take away probably the final, if any of the games, in the last kind of 5-6 weeks, we've played very well. We played really well at Aki's, but our discipline was shot again, same as the final. And we've had a big talk the last couple of weeks is that we need to keep 15 men on the park. And to be fair, I don't know where it's come from. We had the lowest amount of cards in the Premiership to about January time, and then all of a sudden we're starting to leak cards. I don't know if that's been a bit too confident that we're going to get away with things, but look, we've had a big talk, and if we can keep 50 men on the park, no give silly penalties away and fill the field, hopefully we can really attack this Hawks outfit, and that's what's got to be the day. We're going to have to go out and attack and play the areas and not let them dictate what we do and where we play.
There is another semi-final going on, of course, over at Millbrae, which is going to be a humdinger, I think, Ayr against Mar. Mar did really well to go up to Millennium Park and knock out Curry. What are your own thoughts on the other semi-final?
I think it'll be a huge day over in Ayr. I spoke to Craig Redpath. I saw him at Melrose last Saturday night, and I think that looking at it, it'll be a huge game. There'll be a big crowd there, and again, probably Mar go in as favourites, but an Ayrshire derby, it'll been a while since the two teams will have played. I think it'll be a very physical encounter, but I would like to think that Mar, with that Premiership experience and the pack that they've got, looking at it, probably hopefully can pull through, but I think it'll be a big occasion through there, and whatever happens here, it'll be a cracking final either way.
Well, we wish you the best of luck as always, and let's hope for a really good game out there.
Perfect. Cheers, Stuart. Thanks.
Hawick head coach Matty Douglas with his thoughts on the game, which will be starting in about 14 minutes' time. Let's hear from Glasgow Hawks head coach now, Andy Hill. Well, last time we spoke, Andy, was at Mansfield Park. We're now at Hewenden. Presumably you'd rather be at Balgray, but the posts have turned into an athletics track. We're so late in the season now, but this is my first time at Hillhead Jordan Hill at Hewenden. Pitch looking good.
Yeah,
short grass, hard ground, should hopefully make for a good, exciting game of rugby today. So, yeah, boys are excited to be here.
There was presumably the option of the 3G pitch as well. Is that true, or did you actually choose this one?
No option of 3G pitch. We didn't look into explore any other options of Lock-Inch. I think it's now taken over by Queen's Park, and the other option would have been possibly Scotstoun, but we didn't go into that, kind of explore that option. So we just... I think Kenny spoke early in the day to the people at Hillhead, Jordan Hill, and they were happy to host us, so we felt as if it was close and it would be good for supporters to come along, still maintaining it in the West End.
Because the Cup so far, you've had all away games, haven't you? So this is, in a way, is a bit of an away game.
Yeah. We've been away, and obviously, in all our journey so far, which just obviously suited us in terms of obviously the availability of Balgrey itself, but obviously today, luck of the draw that we're here, and again, we'll maybe gain a bit of an advantage. I don't think it'll be much more than against Hawick.
There was, going back a few matches ago, of course, at Netherdale, they took you right to the wire, extra time, and you managed to get over the line there as well. So it has been quite a journey for the Hawks.
Yeah, that was obviously preliminary round, and with obviously starting early, and they got off to a good start. Gala got an early try, and then we came back into it, and I think that was almost like a case of feeling that we could score when we wanted, and it just got more nuggety, and as the kind of conditions change in terms of using the wind and things like that, we maybe didn't use it to best of our advantage, feeling that if we went through phases and threw the ball about, we'd score tries. But credit to Gala themselves, they defended really well, made it a really difficult afternoon for us, and we pulled through in the end.
Now, of course, in your programme notes, you kind of put Hawick as hot favourites for this one, and you're not going to get too much ball, you don't think, but is this a bit of mind games going on, or do you really believe that? Do you think you're going to be scrapping for everything?
No. I believe obviously Hawick come here as unbeaten, and every right they come here as favourites. We'd love to have that tag and be here as champions, but unfortunately we're not in that position, so they have to come in as favourites. No mind games from us. We know what our jobs are. We know what we need to do. There's going to be periods that they have the ball, and there'll be periods where you have the ball. We know we're going to have to make sure we win as many of the collisions as we possibly can, and make sure we're dominant round about that, because at the end of the day, that they're one of the best side in Scotland, and then in terms of on the attacking side, they're the best defensive team in the league, so we're going to have to try and break them down there, making sure that we still, again, win those collisions to get us on the front foot, to allow us to play at tempo, to then stretch them, and then obviously look to try and create some opportunities, and then we have to be ruthless round about those opportunities that were presented to us and score when they are there. And let's not beat about the bush, you're a Premiership side, you've got some great players. Oh no, definitely, and it's been good. There are guys that have been away at Super 6 and things like that, and have come in on Thursday, and there's guys that are coming back fit. Guys are eager to play. Within a couple of weeks, not ideal prep with guys not being there, but at the same time, everybody's desperate to play in a semi-final and be here, and we feel as if the prep we've done has been good as we can have had, so no excuses on our end. At the end of the day, we're here to try and win. We believe we can with the squad that we've got, because we've got some good players in amongst that, so it's about making sure we put the first foot forward and make sure we start really well. Very
flat pitch out there, conditions absolutely perfect for running rugby, but it's a cup game, and it's a different mindset. You'll be obviously not throwing the ball about. I'd imagine Hawick won't be either. It'll be all about those fine margins early on.
Oh no, we're here to chuck the ball about. We're here to play rugby. We're here to play rugby. Yeah, we're here to play rugby. We're here. We believe us playing rugby is, that's what we coach. We coach to play at tempo. We coach to play the body space. Some of the pitches, obviously, over the last few while, because of the baton that everyone's taken over winter, kind of challenges us. We believe we are a physical pack, but at the same time we want to be able to throw the ball about and try and play at tempo, whereas today there's no real excuses with that. Obviously a bit of rain last night, but the pitches, that's probably helped the pitch as much as anything else, and it's a hard surface, probably shorter grass and harder surface than Balgrey, so it allows us to play a bit more in terms of that running rugby. So that's the way that the last time we played against Hawick when we beat them down at Lock-Inch. We get the chance to go and run about on a 4G pitch, and that way you just play at tempo, really stretch them. A lot of the same players in that Hawick team, a lot of the same, not as many players in our team, but at the same time we've got the experience of doing that, so that's the way we want to try and play today.
So all out attack then?
Yeah, we'll be looking to try and attack.
So what's the attitude in the camp then? How's the build-up been for this?
It's a hard one for us, because I think a lot of the teams are going through very similar to what we've probably been going through since probably the start of December. The 20's been announced. We've got a lot of players that are in that, even in the extended squads that maybe don't get announced to the public, but we've had at times above 10 players in that, and that obviously makes training and things really difficult on a Tuesday night in particular, where you probably do the bulk of your work, and then we're having to try and play catch up on a Thursday, so that has obviously hindered us in terms of that, whereas now we're in that position, but at the same time it's how other teams cope with that. Hawick have had a long layoff. Not ideally, their game against GHK didn't go ahead for them, so they've had a bit of a layoff, but at the same time they've played a long season, so it'll help them in terms of rest and allow Matty and his team to have time on task of how they're going to look to try and beat us. They'll have known for a while now one of the two teams that they're going to play, whereas we're just obviously taking it one game at a time. So no excuses on our end. We're here to play rugby, as I said, and but the attitude in the camp is that boys believe that they can come out and do a job there. It's about beating the opposite man and making sure that we do that. And we believe we've got the squad here to do that.
Fantastic. Well, we certainly look forward to a good high-scoring match, possibly, and we wish you the best of luck.
Hopefully. Thank you, Stuart.
There we are, Andy Hill here at Hughenden. It's the home of Hillhead Jordan Hill, but today it's the home of the semi-final of the Scottish Cup, and it's Hawick playing Glasgow Hawks. Well, as we heard earlier in the show, there's a big game happening in Inverness today where Highland host Kelso in National 1, with Kelso needing just 1 point to gain promotion to the Premiership for the first time since the 1990s. And making the journey up north today is Andrew Fleming.
Yes, thank you, Stuart. Welcome to Canal Park in Inverness on a stunning day for rugby as Highland welcome Kelso and what could be a historic day for the Borders club. Currently sitting 10 points clear at the top of the table, Kelso know that a point from today's game would see them crowned National 1 champions and gain promotion to the top flight of Scottish rugby for the first time in almost 25 years. They will be targeting the win, of course, but do have the comfort of knowing that a 4-try bonus or a losing bonus point will be enough to win the title. But Highland is a very, very tricky place to play. Melrose remain the only side to secure a win here on the 3G pitch all season. There are 2 changes in the Kelso pack from the win at GHK a fortnight ago, with Alan Frame coming in for Terry Logan, and Cammy Thompson's selection for the Southern Knights means Cammy Brown comes in his place in the back row. In the back line, Greg Ponton switches to full back in place of the injured Liam Herdman, and Hamish Tweedy starts in the right wing. It's Highland versus Kelso in a massive match for the Pointer Park club. Kick-off is at 3 p.m.
Let's go to the East Coast now. Berwick trying to avoid the drop into National 3 today won't decide their fate, but after 4 losses in a row, a home win against Lasswade will do their confidence the world of good before they take on Preston Lodge at Penny Pit next Saturday in a game where winner stays up is the likely scenario. Here's Mickey Unotta.
Of course, if Berwick win, 2 losing points next week will keep them up. It's not likely, but neither was PL grabbing 2 at Falkirk. Realistically, it boils down to who wins. Today they're without Ali Grieve. Ryan Nelson is in at 8. Ben Nicholson returns as a replacement. Rory Heithoff stays at inside centre, and good young prospect Liam Robson at fullback. Jack Webster returns as skipper. Lasswade are safe, and like Berwick, they've asserted themselves well in this league. But it's Berwick who this year may be one of 5 who go down. Victory will be great today in their final home game, and I for one hope they'll start better for once, instead of their usual "we don't want to win this match" routine. It's Berwick against Lasswade.
And Berwick might not be able to cement their position in National 2 next season with today's performance, but Hawick Harlequins certainly can. They can win the East League 3 title and gain promotion today. They take on Trinity Accies at Bangham, and waiting for us there is Hugh Brown.
Well, this is the crunch game for Hawick Harlequins. Basically, they need 2 points to win the league because leaders Edinburgh Northern have played all of their games. If Quins lose by less than 8 points and score 4 tries, that would be enough. And of course, a win would secure the title as well. Trinity Accies are mid-table and have 30 points less than their opponents today, but Quins skipper Adam Hall told Borders Rugby Radio that the result of this game is not a foregone conclusion. Team News and coach Brian Rennick has just told me that it's a full-strength Quins side with no injury problems. Let's not forget that Quins were out of rugby for over 2 years before making a comeback this season, and if they lift the East League Division 3 trophy, then Lazarus had better watch out. So the stage is set for this crucial encounter for the men from Wilton Lodge. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon here at Bangham for Trinity Academicals against Hawick Harlequins. Kick-off at 3.
Yes, you listen to Borders Rugby Radio. We're all over Scotland today. We're up north at Inverness. We're down to the east coast at Berwick. We're here in Glasgow in the west for the Scottish Cup semi-final between Hawick and Hawks, and we're also down in Edinburgh as well, looking at Hawick Quins, and hopefully they will be able to get that promotion today. A few minutes to go to kick off here at Hughenden. Let's have a look at some of the other games happening today with Sam Matthews. Now, Sam, Melrose and Gala both have dead rubber games, but it's going to be interesting to see how they play when the shackles are off. I'd be very surprised if any team actually lays down tools and gives in, but what are you expecting from those 2 matches?
Well, that's it, Stuart. You've still got fans at the games, and you've still got players with reputation and pride, and nobody wants to lose a game. You don't have to walk around the high street losing. And like you said, you've got dead rubbers, but you've also got players getting selected for district squads. They want to make sure that they're still playing the top rugby. They want people to see their names. This is a lot of it is word of mouth at this age level. At this regional level, you have to make sure people know you're playing well. Especially, like, for example, Coach Matty Douglas is here today for the South. He's not going to be able to go and check how the Gala boys are playing, how the Melrose boys are playing. They have to do such a good job that it gets talked about on social media, gets talked about at the offside line, gets talked about by ourselves, how they perform, how you and Dale talk about them on the Thursday. You need to keep playing well, and you need to really stamp your point on a position for that South squad.
Well, National 2, a huge game as well, which will decide who gets promoted. Glasgow Accies against Falkirk being happening not too many miles from here at the moment. A Falkirk win or a high-scoring draw gives Falkirk the title, and Accies win by 38 plus points hands the title to them. And waiting in the wings, of course, Newton Stewart, who put 90 odd points over Boroughmuir last week. So I think my money has always been Falkirk in the run-in, but again, exciting times.
Yeah, very exciting times, and if a team needs 38 points to go and claim a title, you're going to see some attacking rugby, and you're going to see players really committed to the score. And as that works in there against them as well, if you're trying to really put tries on the board, you're going to be taking chances, you're going to be trying to create space, and then all it takes is one stray pass or a ball to the ground, and you're probably going to have a defensive player with nothing but green grass in front of him, and then you have to get another try to compensate that. And there's going to be good rugby played in Glasgow today, clearly. Hopefully it's going to be here as well. So,
well, just before the teams come out, just a quick mention about next week's programme. The Langham Sevens, of course, is happening at Milntown. We'll be there for that, but we're also going to be at Penny Pit for Preston Lodge against Berwick, because that is the kind of winner takes all in terms of who stays up in National 2 and who becomes one of those 5 teams going down. But let's start our live coverage this afternoon at Hughenden here in Glasgow. It's the Scottish Cup semi-final between Glasgow Hawks and Hawick. Our commentary team is Sam Matthews, and first Robin Purdy.
Thank you, Stuart. So, having already won the Premiership in the most dramatic fashion, Hawick now have their eyes on a Leon Cup double, a feat they last achieved in 2002 when Nicky Walker and co beat today's opponents in the showpiece final. But Glasgow Hawks also have a long-standing love affair with this competition, having reached the final no less than 6 times, and they will be in no mood to roll over this afternoon with a 6 May Murrayfield final awaiting today's winners. Quick run through the lineups for Hawks. Ewan Muir heads at fullback with Ryan Flett and Andy McLean on the wings. Sam Graham and James Pinkerton are in the centres. Gav Cruikshanks is at 10 and Eric Davies the scrum half. Up front, Mike Downer, Paul Cairncross and Gary Strainer the front row. Stephen Leckie and Ryan Burke are in the middle row with Willem Carlson, Tian Wright and Seb Hastings at 6, 7 and 8. Hawick go with Kirk Ford at 15. The wingers are Lewis Ferguson and Ronan McKean, and Andrew Mitchell and Ethan Riley make up the midfield. Kyle Brunton's at 10 and Gareth Welsh starts at 9. Sean Muir, Fraser Rennick and Nicky Little form the front row. Dalton Redpath and Sean Fairbairn sit just behind them, with Sam Frizzle, Callum Rennick and Jay Linton the breakaway trio. Fergus Hollins is today's ref, and he'll be assisted by Gordon Galashan and Willie Anderson on the touchlines, and Sam Matthews is alongside me in the commentary box today. So Sam, the league title plus a comfortable Hawick win in Glasgow recently would suggest an away win, but it's a cup semi-final and anything can happen.
Well, that's it. Magic of the cup always comes in, and as we were discussing when we were coming up in the car today, the longer you keep that unbeaten record, the more it really starts to daunt over your own head. You don't want to be part of the team that ends that unbeaten streak, as in you don't want to be on the team sheet associated when that L gets put next to it for the first time that season, almost that calendar year. A really daunting task. So, and like we said earlier in the build-up, there's 3 weeks off. It's going to be a real tough task for Hawick. They need to keep focused. This game is not a formality. There is a side in this Glasgow Hawks that know how to play and want to win.
Yeah, well, Hawick clearly the favourites, but there is a slight air of banana skin about this one, and if ever there was to be a marker laid down by Glasgow Hawks, it was straight from the kick-off. They kicked off. It was caught by Jay Linton, I think, from the Hawick number 8, and he was absolutely smashed in the tackle. But it's Hawick with possession, and that kick by Gareth Welsh been charged down by one of the Hawks forwards. So it's Hawks now in possession in the Hawick 22, and it's Cairncross with the initial carry. Davies, the scrum half's at the base of that, goes out to Carlson, the Swedish player at university in Glasgow. So Hawks now going through the phases. It's Cruikshanks. Oh, that's a loose pass in the midfield by Hawks, but it's picked up by Cruikshanks, and Hawks maintain possession. First run of the afternoon there by Ryan Flett, this big winger. Now it's a first carry of the afternoon for Tian Wright, the open side flanker. So as good a start as could have been hoped for the Hawks here. They still are in possession, still in the 22, and it's another carry by Carlson. A couple of early Brainsies for him, and the referee's got an arm out here, so are they playing with a free ball? Hawks, it's a big carry by the hooker there, Paul Cairncross. We'll see a bit of that from him this afternoon, no doubt. So, going through the phases here, Hawks, here they come again through Ewan Muirhead, the fullback. Just been held up there, almost equidistant now between the 22 and the try line, but the referee's going to come back for the penalty. So, Sam, like I say, as good a start as Hawks could have hoped for.
I mean, what a dream start. You know, you get that big hit right on the first from your own kickoff, and then resulting ruck, you charge down a scrum half who will probably be already thinking, I'm already fighting an uphill battle here. We spoke about how the pitch is pretty level, but as an entire, it is on the hill with a slight slope down, with Hawick having to go uphill in this first half. So, you know, that will really set alarm bells ringing. We spoke about how they've had 3 weeks off. Like, that will really put the focus on now, and you imagine Lewis Bertram and Matty Douglas will be screaming the word focus really intently across this pitch to their side now.
Yeah, well, if Hawick, not that they will have, but if Hawick thought they were coming up here to partake in a cakewalk, then that has been put to bed, that notion, and it's going to be the first penalty, almost bang in front of the sticks, just inside the 22 for this talented young winger who's playing on the wing today. He's a fullback to trade, Andy McLean, the 18-year-old Scotland under-18s player. And he's split the sticks, so first blood in the Scottish Cup semi-final here at Hughenden goes the way of Glasgow Hawks, rather. Glasgow Hawks 3, Hawick 0, and Hawick won't be panicking, of course, but they'll be looking to get stamp their imprint on this game as quickly as they can.
No, and it makes such a difference as well now. If Hawick score the next try, for example, it's not that 7-point deficit. You're still clawing back that 3, so you've only got that 4. It's simple maths, but it really is a psychological battle as well. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see now how Hawks really focus on this next 10 minutes. Do they really try and cement their play for the next 10 minutes of this game? Yeah, well, we were told by the Hawks coach Andy Hill pre-match that they were going to come out and play some rugby, and that's exactly what they've done, and they've taken the kick-off deep inside their own 22, but they've got possession here and they're looking to hit up rather than go at the touchline, and that's a carry by Stephen Leckie, the very experienced captain. He's a lecturer at Ayrshire College, and that's been put down the park now into the hands of Jay Linton, and he's got to run up here. And as he always does, he bumps off the first man, he bumps off the second man, and he's been caught there by a couple of Hawks players. So Hawick possession on the halfway line. It goes out to Rennick, that being Callum Rennick. So up towards the 10 metre line, it's Welsh again, out to Brunton. Ethan Riley is talented Australian, and there's a missed pass out to Kirkford. Kirkford comes back inside, up towards the 10 metre line. Screaming for a penalty, the fans and the subs on that far side for the Hawks, and that's what they've been given, holding on too long in the contact, and Fergus Holland's seen that. So another penalty goes the way of Glasgow Hawks, second indiscretion by Hawick there, and that'll give the Hawks the chance to leave their half. And again, just they're doing really well, Hawks, so far. Yeah, what a turnover by James Pinkerton there, an outside centre, often classed as the auxiliary back row traditionally, and times on throw, you look at Brian O'Driscoll and his skill in the breakdown, but yeah, what a turn it. And it even started there with Jay Linton's first carry up. Like, everybody knows what Jay Linton's about. He's going to run at you hard, and he's not going to go for your arms, he's going to go straight at your shoulder, and he's going to say, you're either going to stop me or you're going to have a long day dealing with me. And he went up against the winger. I think it was Andy McLean, the young winger, who spoke about the kick, and he firmed that challenge. He took a second man to help him, but he did, and then they had to try attack from there and got the resulting turnover. So the Hawks line out was taken, but it was an overthrow, and it's gone right to the tail into the grateful arms of Nicky Little, and he trucks it up. So here come Hawick now, second carry there for Callum Rennick, up towards halfway. Welsh at the base of this again. Brunton now. Brunton tries to put in the low grubber, but it's been charged down, and Gavin Cruikshanks of the Hawks is after this. Kirkford's back there, and he's going to have to play it. Kirkford, he's back behind his own line now. Yeah, Kirkford's been hauled down there, so they're going to come back for a 5 metre. No, I think the referees deemed that the ball had gone over the line when Ford played it, so it's going to be a dropout from behind the Hawks line, behind the Hawick line. But yeah, things not going Hawick's way so far. Constant pressure coming from the Hawks. They look bang up for this afternoon, it has to be said. That's Ford with a dropout, and it's not gone particularly far, and it's straight into the arms of McLean. McLean tackled well there, and Lewis Ferguson's in there trying to rip the ball, but Hawks have maintained it, and here comes Strain again. Strain to Tian Wright, but Tian Wright's also hit hard there, and now Hawick are calling for a penalty, and a large and vociferous Hawick crowd here. Fraser Rennick in over that, the large crowd, the large Hawick travelling support. We're happy with that. So, first penalty of the afternoon conceded to the Hawks, and Hawick just on their 22 will ask Kirkford to come forward here and
put his right foot through it, this cultured right foot that's kicked so well from hand this season and kicked so many goals as well. And that's going to be a line out right in front of our vantage point here in the stand at Hughenden. So it's a line out right on halfway as the Hawick forwards trundle forward after their confab. Captain Sean Muir comes over here to give the instruction.
Couple of quick later scores already. Berwick 7, Last Wade 0 in National 2, and in East League 3, Hawick have the lead 5-0 at Trinity.
The line-out's been won by Hawick. It wasn't the cleanest, that had to be mopped up by Jay Linton, and he's been wrapped up by the Hawks forwards, so they're going to trundle it up again. Sean Muir with the carry again. He's hit hard though. Cairn cross in there. Hooker who really puts himself about. Now Linton's at the base of this, but he's going to form the caterpillar, as they call it, and it's went up into the box kick by the Hawick scrum half Gareth Welsh, and it's been knocked on by a Hawick player there under the high ball, so Hawick come away now, and it's Carlson, the Swede again. It's out to Pinkerton, and Pinkerton's got a man on the outside, but again the Hawick defence get across, but Hawks again back up into the Hawick half, and it's a bit of a breathless passage of play this, and another kick's been charged down, this time by Hawick, and the ball ricochets back into the Hawks half. It's mopped up by Ewan Muirhead, the diminutive looking Hawks forward, but not a diminutive player is not their prop, Mike Downer, and he trucks it up now, but again it's been knocked forward and just all a wee bit harum-scarum.
It is, and it's frantic is what it is. I don't know why they're playing like they've got 3 minutes left rather than the best part of 70. It's quite there was Gavin Welsh could have had another kick charged down there as well. We spoke about the Hawks kick getting charged down, but it's a case of really just get it leveled down now from both sides. Hawks need to understand they've got a lead, albeit 3 points, but at the end of the day, one point is enough to win a game. So take that, use the ball playing. They've said they've committed. They want to play rugby. They want to take it to this team. They don't want to snatch and grab and run away at what is a home venue. They want to appease the crowd with some good rugby. But yeah, Hawick just really need to get a lid on it, don't they? You just want to see them get a few phases of systematic formation rugby.
Yeah, they maybe look a wee bit ring rusty, Hawick, and that would be quite understandable. They've not had a fixture for 3 weeks, so here they come from the scrum line. It's a dart from Gareth Welsh, but that had gone down that scrum, so Fergus Hollins is going to bring them back, and he's actually awarded a penalty to Hawick, so just what the doctor ordered as far as the Teeries are concerned. So centre field, it'll be at least 45 to 50 metres from the posts though, so just deciding what they're going to do, and Kirkford signals to Fergus Hollins that he's not going to go for the sticks, he's going to go down the touchline. So centre field, what kind of ground will he make? He struck it well, the penalty, and that's going to be a line out in and around the Hawks 22. So again, the Hawick forwards having a bit of a chat about what they're going to do here. As Fraser Rennick, hugely experienced and hugely talented hooker, comes across to take this, and again he's going to have the instruction from his captain Sean Muir. But Fraser Rennick, one of the absolute standout performers for Hawick in what has been a standout season. They've been standout performers to a man, but he has been particularly impressive. So it's going to be Rennick, looks for Dalton Redpath in the middle, and that's been taken clearly, and now he comes round on the hoof, Fraser Rennick, but again decent tackle by Hawks, flung out with gay abandon by Rennick, but it has been mopped up by Kyle Brunton, and now Hawick looking to recycle this, still up in and around the 22, and it's another carry for the captain Sean Muir. Now they put a bit of width on it, Hawick, and Ethan Riley straightens and goes. Ethan Riley, who scored a hat-trick against Glasgow Hawks the last time out in Glasgow in February, and it's another penalty conceded by Glasgow Hawks, this time an awful lot closer to the posts, albeit out towards the far side of where we are on the stand side here at Hughenden. So Hawick have worked their way back into the Sam. You'd fancy them to have a crack at the posts here, except they're going to do exactly the opposite and go down the touchline, of course, curse the commentators. So Kirkford's put that down to 5 or 6 metres from the Hawks line, and the first real chance for Hawick to exert their pressure.
Yeah, and it's like we just said before, they've had a few phases, they drew a few penalties, they could have had a few go either way, but yeah, and Kirkford's just slowly walked his team up the way, and then it's been excellent execution. That line out take from Dalton Redpath there, although the resulting carry wasn't quite as clean and quick ball as they probably want off a design move like that, the function went well from the stationary play. So when you can move your team up and down the pitch like that, I think it's been the best part of 1.5 minutes of actual playing time, and we've gone about 70 metres up the field, so Hawick will take from that as this line out comes down.
The line out came in and it was taken in by Sam Frizzle, this young back rower. So Hawick looking to move this forward now, and it does exactly that, up towards the line. Hawick are here. Fraser Rennick, as is so often the case, is in there, and it comes back to Jay Linton. Now Jay Linton has a dart at the line, Linton's nigh on over, but he's been held up just short, so they're going to keep it tight through Redpath. Redpath has a bash. Redpath twists and turns his way towards the whitewash. He's held up just short, but again it comes back on the Hawick side, and here comes Brunton. Brunton's got McKean over, coming in off his wing, looking for work, McKean, but again he's been held up, and it's Welsh again. Brunton's got Kirkford outside, but good defence by the Hawks. It's been kept infield, he's perilously close to the touchline. Now Sean Muir's the latest to trundle it up, and again he's been held up short, so solid defence by Hawks thus far, and it's a loose pass. It's going to have to be mopped up by Andrew Mitchell. Andrew Mitchell straightens and goes up towards the line. Andrew Mitchell, can he get the ball down? No, he's held up just short in the shadow of the post. Now it's Redpath. Redpath dummies and goes, but again it's another big hit in the midfield there, this time by Sam Graham. Again Hawick recycling, come at pace towards Hawks, but it's been fumbled at the base, under pressure Welsh was, and Hawks have turned it over and they clear their lines. Is that going to go? No, it's bounced back in field, so Hawick have got it all to do again, this time from around the halfway line. Ford takes it up. Hawks bodies pile in, but Hawick are going to maintain it. They've got men over here, Hawick, if they can see them, but Redpath takes it into the heavy traffic, and again Hawks players in with a big hit. Jay Linton now. Jay Linton only knows one way, and that is forward, and they're doubling up on him. They've targeted him. They know all about his strengths. So Hawks in there again. Hawick having to build now from 40 metres or so back from where they were previously. It's Mitchell out to Riley. Riley's got Ferguson outside him. Strong competitor Riley, and he takes 2 or 3 Hawks defenders to bring him down, but again it's been held on just that fraction too long, and Hawks will be absolutely thrilled with that defensive set.
Well, some set, and I think the two centres are really on the money. I think that was Pinkerton again with another turnover, his second of the game, and then that hit on Dalton Redpath by Sam Graham on his own try line. He really stunted that whole attack from Hawick there, because he shifted that whole line back, and you watched the whole team have to stop and reassess where they needed to be, and they've got the Just Rewards penalty kick, and now we're down into the Hawick half.
Yeah, down towards the Hawick 22 at that, and you'd imagine that Hawick from situations like that will have scored more often than not this season.
Yeah, and you have to imagine Matty Douglas is going to be pretty frustrated as well, watching that from his backs play as well, going more sideways than forwards.
Yeah, they were. They knocked hard on the Hawks' door, but it was not for relenting, so it's going to be a Hawks line out on this near stand side at Hughenden. It's going to be Cairncross to throw in, and he's bang on the money with the arrows. That was right at the back, and now it's Hastings, the number 8, with the charge, but it's been fumbled in the midfield, and they're going to have to mop it up here, Hawks, and there's Hawick bodies in over that, and yet held on just too long, so the penalty's starting to rack up. I make that 3 each, and we've not played all that long, so Fergus Hollins standing for no nonsense this afternoon, and again that relieves the pressure a wee bit on Hawick and gives them another chance to find a platform from which to operate.
Yeah, and a quick note on how the referee called that one there for you listeners that didn't get to see it. He didn't manage to keep it his whole limpet, but he clearly had control of the ball and got brushed off it, but he called it before there was that dangerous play. As we keep talking about all these gator rows and things coming into the breakdown, and we're trying to talk about Jacqueline, a great call from the referee there to identify it quickly and blow the whistle to prevent injury as well.
And another very decent nudge from Kirkford, who was halfway line centre field with a penalty there. It's going to be another Hawick line out down around the Hawks 22. Glorious conditions for rugby here in Glasgow this afternoon, and the travelling Hawick faithful have come in their numbers, and there's a decent turnout from Hawks as well, so decent crowd here this afternoon. And Rennick goes to the middle, and this time he finds Fairbairn, and it's his brother Rennick. Now it's to Riley, and there's a half break on by Riley now up and to around the 22, and Welsh looking for his heavy runners, but he goes to Brunton instead, and Brunton's got Kirkford with a cute little kick over the top. It's been mopped up though by Pinkerton. Pinkerton's got a bit of work to do. He's been held up there by Hawick players, but he's got to ground, and there's a counter drive by Hawick in here, but Hawks have maintained it, and one of the Burley runners comes away with it, and so Hawks now, albeit deep inside their 22, have possession. It was a cute kick from Ford, and some of the Hawick players that were claiming that he was taken out in the act of chasing his own kick. And another penalty's been coughed up by Glasgow Hawks, so they are starting to get on the wrong side of the referee, and again it's another penalty to Hawick, 5 metres or so inside the Hawks 22, but it's over again towards the touchline. So if it's a similar situation that was previously, they went down the touchline, and it looks like Kirkford is going to do exactly the same here. They're not going to go for the 3 points. They're going to drive it down into the corner, and Ford's done exactly that. So again, carbon copy almost of where we were previously.
Yeah, we are. We're exactly in the same spot, aren't we? 5 metres out channel. It'll be interesting to see how they attack this, how many phases before they send it out wide back to to Kyle Brunton and his back line. How are they going to utilise this? They know the weapons. They know Jay Linton's there. They know Dalton Redpath's there. Experienced front row. Let's see how they attack this.
And Fraser Rennick's bang on the money with his throw again, and it was taken in by Fairbairn, and it's the traditional Hawick rolling maul coming on here. Seen a lot of this over the years, going back through the generations. They're up towards the line. Fraser Rennick is over the base of that. He was steering the ship, and that's exactly what Hawick were after.
It is, and it's a pure forwards try there. You're going to love that. Any rugby purist, any scrum coach, any line-out coach is going to look at that and think that's textbook. I mean, Fraser Rennick, he watched his team out, and it was one of those traditional ones, wasn't it? He just fell over because his team took him the whole way there. He didn't have to take a step forward or anything. He literally just waited until he saw white grass underneath his eyes and just dropped to the ground, and that's it. First try of the game goes to Hawick.
Yeah, exactly that. He dropped to the ground with not a Hawks player near him. Such was the control of that Hawick maul. So Hawick have more than fought their way back into this after a slightly nervy start. It's Hawks 3, Hawick 5. Kick to come. The kick's going to be by the arch marksman Kirk Ford over towards the far touchline, left of the post. So what used to be classed as the good side for a right-footed kicker. I was watching Ford warming up earlier on, and he does strike a beautiful ball from the tee. So he's lining this one up just at the back of his run up here. It'll be some kick if he gets it. Hawick now in the lead, of course, 5 points to 3. Ford has one last look at the posts, begins his run up. Not his best strike, actually, after I bigged him up there. So left the decent ones in the warm up as it stands at the moment. It fell short, that one, but currently, as it stands, Hawks 3, Hawick 5.
Okay, in the other match in the semi-final, it's still a no score, but Ben Johnston and also Jamie Bova have been yellow carded, one from each side there. Here, of course, it's Glasgow Hawks 3, Hawick 5. In National 1, Aberdeen 7, Gala 3, Biggar 12, GHK 7. That was a 2:30 kick-off. Melrose 15, Dundee 5, and it's now Berwick 14, Lasswade 7 in National 2. Liam Robson and Ryan Wilson scoring tries. And in the East 3 promotional match, Trinity Accies 5, Hawick Quins 12.
Yeah, it sounds like Jamie Bova's maybe been in a altercation there, which on Grand National Day you would not have got long odds on, but we're back underway here, and Hawks now are in possession. Hawick kicked towards touch, but didn't make touch, so Hawks have got a chance to build here. They're inside the Hawick half, and it's Cruikshank to Graham, but Graham's hit hard, really hard in the midfield by it was Andrew Mitchell actually, but they've maintained possession. Now it's Cairncross out the back door to McLean. McLean's got Dalton Redpath swarming all over him and almost hauled the jersey right off his back, but he's managed to maintain the ball and his jersey, McLean, and now he fires it out to Downer. Downer, this hugely experienced prop ex-Boroughmuir Bears, now in the ranks of Glasgow Hawks, and it's Cruikshanks again. Cruikshanks pings it down into the 22, but that's great defensive cover by Kirk Ford. Takes the mark. He reads the game beautifully.
He does. He is a step ahead, and I felt sorry for Hawks that they had the ball and they got that opportunity, but they tried to score off that very next phase. They could have took it out. We watched it there. I think it was Cairncross who's had a very good opening 10-15 minutes. He's unbelievable, and he tried to force it out the back to young McLean here, he's clearly a weapon for them. They're trying to use him. It seems very clear that Pinkerton and the two centres are very defensive minded, and their back three are clearly where they're trying to get the points from. But you look at that there, and they could have just took that in a few phases there. They've kind of been victims of their own eagerness there.
Yeah, and after the very decent catch, the mark deep inside his own 22, he sent that to the halfway line, Kirk Ford. So decent territorial gain for Hawick from that one, albeit it will be a throw into the line out for the Glasgow Hawks, and it will be that man, Paul Cairncross. 10 Premiership games this season, 1 try for the ex-Scotland under-18 man. Back a few years now, but representative honours for him nonetheless, and it's a wee bit of a scruffy line out, but it's somehow been gathered in there by, I think it was Gary Strain at the tail, the big prop. So here comes the other prop again, Downer with another carry, offering himself up for work, the South African. Now it's Davy out to Cairncross. There's a winger in there, Ryan Flett, again off his wing looking for work, and it's Davy again at the base, again to Cairncross. Cairncross has got the second rower, Ryan Burke, on his inside shoulder, but now it's going to come out the backs, and Pinkerton puts a left-footed grubber through, and that's hurtling towards the touchline, but again Ford's over there. Ford's got the dancing feet, but he's been hauled down by his opposite number there. Hawick now inside their own 22. You'll be looking to exit here. Lewis Ferguson's in and around the base of this, but Fraser Rennick comes away, or Gareth Welsh, I beg your pardon, comes away with it, and that's a good carry by Welsh, and he's given his forwards a platform to come round. Now it's Fraser Rennick. He's hit hard, doubled up, double teamed again by the Hawks defence. They've obviously identified him as a strong carrying player as well. And now the kick does go to touch eventually by Kyle Brunton. And again, he's made good territory. And the kicking from hand, Sam, by Hawick has been really impressive.
Yeah, and I've spoken about it 2 times now, but as you're going uphill, that cuts your distance, your opportunity to get, because the ground just comes to meet the ball. So Hawks are playing a very smart game here. It'll be interesting as the sun comes from the far right corner down. Do Hawks try to utilise this against Hawick and they start kicking towards the far left corner away from this main stand where we are? Make them look into the sun, attack it, use what you can around you when you are this underdog side, as they know, albeit they have really taken this game to Hawick so far.
Yeah, and that looked like a squint line out from where I was sat, but the referee says nay, and they come away with it. Seb Hastings with a carry. He's been wrapped up by Fraser Rennick. Some of the Hawick faithful cheering for that as well. Now it's Wright, Tian Wright. Impressive performer over the course of the season, but he's hauled down just outside the 22. Davy feeds Cruikshanks, and Ewan Muirhead's over there on that far side. The Hawks fullback, as they're now up to the 22, and there's a penalty there against Hawick. So another decent attacking platform from which Hawks can work here. You would imagine, Sam, they'll go to the corner with this one.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I want to see them go to the corner. I want to see them have that bit of sustain. They've done a lot of rugby in their own 22 where they played through phases, so now you're on the opposite side of the pitch. Take your time, sort of set out your stall, go against this Hawick team, make them match up one-on-one. We spoke about the big battle today for us is clearly in the forwards, with two district front rows going head-to-head today.
They are, but you're absolutely right, Sam. The recent announcements of both Glasgow and the South include both the front rows here, and it's going to be a Hawks line out there, maybe 6 or 7 metres from the Hawick line. It's going to be again Cairncross to throw in. Cairncross, he's overthrown it again. Cairncross, the lifting wasn't the best on the second row. Now Hawick come away and they're up and out the 22 all of a sudden. Callum Rennick it was, the ever industrious, and now Brunton again has put boot to ball and put it down the park, and it's been taken in by Muirhead. Muirhead's got McLean for company. McLean dances and takes it into the contact. A couple of Hawick players for company. So now it comes up through Stephen Leckie, the captain, once again, and Davies having to fish that one out of there, but he's done exactly that, and it comes out to Cruikshanks. Cruikshanks, he fires it out to Carlson, the Swede, but been bundled backwards there, but they're still in possession of the ball. Glasgow Hawks, but it's been spilled and hacked forward by a Hawick player, but again it's now in the possession of Hawks and it's been chipped forward, and the referee's given a penalty for a little bit of obstruction by the looks of things, and it's going to be the Hawick have either coughed up 10 metres with a little bit of back chat perhaps, or there's been some kind of indiscretion whereby Fergus Hollins has marched Hawick back and now he's having a chat with the captain. Hawick coach Matty Douglas, he spoke to Stuart earlier about the discipline in recent weeks maybe hasn't been as on point as the coaching staff would like it. Of course, they were down to 13 men in that famous final against Curry, the Premiership final, and I think that's around about 5 penalties so far in this game, so they won't be looking to rack up too many more, Sam, or we could be seeing a flash of yellow.
No, and I think that's what the referee today is just really trying to get that sort of under wraps a bit. He's watching it get a bit scrappy. You know, at a ruck there's always going to be people saying things. That's where you get to know your opposite number, but I think he just wants to keep ahead in it, and Matty Douglas will be wanting that as well. He'll be wanting the ref to be not strict with his team, but say you're going to get a yellow if you keep this up. We need to keep it down. And like Matty Douglas said, they made that final really tough for themselves, going down to 13 men. That's not an easy play, and they are playing away from home. They've been on a bus a while, legs will be stiff. As you've got into the game, you'll tire out quicker. It happens.
So Hawks have elected to kick at goal here, and it's going to be Andy McLean. Kickable penalty for sure, and he struck it well, McLean. Yeah, the flags go up, so the Hawks are back in the lead by 6 points to 5, and that's what happens, Sam. You fall on the wrong side of the referee and you give away kickable penalties. Yeah.
And a fair reflection of how I think the game's gone just now. You would say Hawks have slightly edged it. Hawick have definitely had more of the ball, but just more clinical with it. And then, like you said, if you keep giving away penalties, you're going to concede points, and it's very tough to win if you are constantly looking at your own post, hoping a ball to bounce off them.
Yeah, well, he's kicked 8 penalties and 22 conversions in the league this season, Andy McLean, so he is a marksman, and Hawick will be fully aware of that. And again, Ford's gone long with the kickoff, and again it's been taken in by Hastings, and Hastings has been well tackled there by Lewis Ferguson. It was inside the Hawks 22, so it's Downer now, the prop, looking to take it out deep inside their own 22 territory, and that's a good kick by Cruikshanks. Has been kept in though by Jay Linton, and Jay Linton runs hard, but he's been well tackled by McLean, took him round the ankles. Linton let go, picked up, but his tackler didn't let go, so Hawick have went quickly, and it's Gareth Welsh. Now Gareth Welsh, that's a good 20 metres made. Has he lost his support? No, it's there in numbers actually. So Hawick have got a platform now just inside the Hawks 10 metre line, and it's out to Brunton. Brunton's got Riley, Riley's got a left boot, and Riley's put that towards the touchline. It's been taken in by a Hawks player there. Looked like it had been fumbled, but the referee's signalling that it's gone backwards. It was Ewan Muirhead, the fullback. So 5 metres outside their own 22 Hawks now, and Cairncross dummies and goes and beats the first man actually. Cairncross, he's made 10 metres or so at least, and a good carry by the squat figure. He's about as wide as he is tall, Paul Cairncross, and he always puts that frame of his to good use. Hard man to drag down. But another penalty's been conceded, this time by Glasgow Hawks. It's becoming a bit of a theme in this first half, and again it's over on that far side. So if the form book is anything to go by for similar penalties in similar positions, Sam, you'd imagine again they'll go down the touchline. I was going to say, I think we're probably going to look at Kirkford, look at that 5 metre channel again here from that. But I mean, it's another case of defensive play. They're clearly, it's like, you know, turnovers coming in one after the other here right now. Is poor defensive, or even poor support from the attacking teams, I should say, in this opening 20 minutes. Yeah, and he's gone deep inside, deep down into the Hawks 22, Kirkford. So it's going to be another Hawick line out, and their line out has very much been on point so far. It's maybe halfway between the 22 line and the Glasgow Hawks try line. So the Hawick forwards have had their chat. Muir again comes over to Fraser Rennick to give him the instruction as the Hawick forwards amble towards this line out, and it's going to be Rennick to throw in. They've varied it up a bit, the line out so far. This time he goes orthodox to Frizzle towards the tail, and this rumbling carbon copy maul comes on again, but there's been a bit of blocking off there, so say the referee, and a penalty has been awarded to Glasgow Hawks.
Let's go to Canal Road, I think it's called, isn't it, up in Highland in Inverness, and the latest from Andrew Fleming.
20 minutes on the clock here in the glorious sunshine in Inverness, and what's been a very nervy affair. It's Kelso who enjoyed the lion's share of territory with pressure inside the Highland 22, but the home side have so far kept them at bay. Highland 0, Kelso 0.
Latest scores we have for you in the Super Series sprint. Heriots against Southern Knights. Heriots taking the lead there 7-0 at the moment. It's Ayr 0, Mar 3. Colin Sturgeon with a penalty after 20 minutes. Glasgow Hawks 6, Hawick 5 in the other cup semi-final here. In National 1 it's Aberdeen 14, Gala 10, Biggar 19, GHK 7, Melrose 15, Dundee 8, and International 2, Berwick 14, Lasswade 7, Glasgow 7, Falkirk 6. Crucial match that is up in Glasgow, and Hamilton 7, Kirkcaldy 14.
Yeah, I'm calling the grace period whereby commentators are still allowed to refer to it as Super 6 to maybe about a month, 3 weeks to a month, but Hawks are now in possession. They were awarded a penalty inside their own 22, and the kick to touch wasn't the best, but they've won the line out and they've made a bit of territory since then. This time the old Gary Owen's been put high into the Glasgow sky by Gav Cruikshanks, and it's bounced right off the chest of a Hawick player there and therefore knocked on. So now it's Hawks in possession through their winger Ryan Flett up towards the Hawick 10 metre line, and it's Cruikshanks again, this time with the distribution. It's been well taken in by Graham, and Graham straightens and goes, and he's been wrapped up there by Brunton in the end after evading a couple of challenges. So here come again the big runners in the form of Mike Downer, who's been prominent in this game so far, but again a Hawick player's over there. And again, the penalty's been awarded against the Hawks, and you don't get long in possession now, Sam.
No, and unlucky for Mike Downer, he almost plugged out there like Spider-Man with that one-handed catch to keep possession, but then unfortunately that threw him out of body position. He wasn't able to tuck, he wasn't able to protect the ball as he made that collision, and then I think it was Fraser Rennick getting turnover number 3 or 4 of the day so far, and he's not going to miss when he sees a ball lying wide open like that with somebody on the ground, is he? Yeah, he's an absolute turnover machine. Fraser Rennick, just one of the many fine facets to his game. Line out throwing, turnovers, hugely impressive around the park, and it's going to be he to throw into this line out again right in front of our position here at Hughenden, right on halfway this Hawick line out will be. And again the instruction comes his way. Hawick forwards, gum shields inserted back into mouths, ready to contest this line out. So Rennick throws in. Again, it's orthodox. This time it goes to Redpath.
And again the drive comes on, and once again it's that man Rennick at the back. Gareth Welsh now. Rennick though decides to go. He's broken, he's gone himself, and there's Hawks bodies over it this time, but illegally so this time. So the penalty goes the way of the attacking team, and the referee's called the time off here. He's going to have a bit of a chat with somebody. Looking like he's looking for Stephen Leckie, the Hawks captain. So that must be what, I think 12 penalties in this game so far, Sam. So Fergus Hollins is not going to have, like I said earlier, he's not going to stand for any nonsense.
Yeah, the problem is as these penalties come in, a lot of them are not from ill discipline or from cynical fouls. They're all from people, trying to get that edge, and unfortunately it's not gone like we saw it there. Kieran Cross tried to turn over the ball and he just went with such gusto, he actually went past the ball, had to put his hands out to stop himself, and when a referee's that close to the breakdown, he's going to spot it, because that's what they're looking for in this day and age. Yeah, they're very hot on that, referees, at the moment, at all levels. So it's going to be, once again, Kirk Ford with a right-footed banana kick. He's driven it down to just inside, or in and around certainly, the Hawks 22. So yet another Hawick line out. As far as I can recall, every single one of them been on the money so far, so they'll be looking for exactly that this time around. And it's Rennick once again. Rennick, this time he goes towards the tail, but a Hawks hands came in there, but it's been mopped up by Callum Rennick this time, and Callum Rennick's off and running. He's hit hard in the tackle by Carlson, but Hawick maintained possession, and the ever-willing carrier that is Sean Muir, the skipper, comes round the corner. Brunton this time. Brunton's got a player on a short cut, a beautiful short cut of that, and Andrew Mitchell is sauntered under the sticks without a hand laid on him. Well, I tell you, I'm a member of the front row union, but even I can appreciate a centre scoring a try like that. He started out outside to in, he was almost in the 5 metre channel, he was that far out, and you watched him plant that left foot, really attack the inside channel, the defender coming at him there, and like you said, he just had hands, they were almost patting him on the back, that was as close as they were getting into him, and he went straight in under the post. What a try for Hawick. Yeah, he ran a beautiful line there, Andrew Mitchell. 9 tries in the league this season, and another one in the cup brings up 10 for him. He actually scored, he's the other player, Hawick player, to score a hat-trick against Glasgow Hawks. He got one in the home game this season against them back in October, so he's a wee bit of a bogey man, a wee bit of a thorn in their side this season, you could say, Andrew Mitchell. That's taken the score out to Hawick, or Hawks 6, Hawick 10. Kick to come. A marksman like Kirk Ford's not going to miss from in front of the sticks, so we are out to Hawks 6, Hawick 12, and yeah, Hawick, I would say now, Sam, just on the balance of power, are starting to exert their authority, I would say. Yeah, I think as they grow into the game, and as people get tired, this is where the fitness, the commitment to the craft they've really honed at Hawick this season down at Mansfield Park, this is where it really starts to show through. And we spoke about how Hawks probably being 6-5 up was probably fair at the time they got those 3 points. This is now probably an accurate reflection of how this first half has gone. Yeah, and it's Cruikshanks gets it back underway, kicks it straight to Jay Linton. Probably wasn't his intention, you would imagine, but Linton's been stopped in his tracks, and the box kick's gone up by Gareth Welsh. Muirhead's under this for Hawks, so Muirhead takes it, scampers off, wrapped up though by Fraser Rennick. There's another Hawick player in there as well, doubling up on the Glasgow fullback, but Davies at the base. And again, Carlson, one of the more impressive performers in this game so far. He's been fairly prominent. Davey goes again. Davey's seen half a gap, and Davey's off and running. He's found the space, Davey. He's got a man on the outside, and it's the winger flat, and all of a sudden, Hawks right back in this. Great break by the scrum half, the diminutive scrum half that is Eric Davey. He found his winger, Ryan Flatt. And my word, we've got a game on. I know you say he's a small player, but his eyes are clearly massive because he can see everything going on in front of him. He went straight through that gap there, and then it was as you say, Kirk Ford is normally quite on the ball of where he needs to be ahead of a phase or two, but there was nothing he could do when you've got your man one-on-one and you've got a pace man like Flatt outside you who can catch up, galloping down the touchline, and then all Davey had to do was draw his man and send Flatt across the line. So, immediate strike back there for Hawks, and, well, got a game of rugby on our hands, don't we? Well, yeah, we certainly have. Eric Davey, it was a beautiful break by him. He's played for Stirling Wolves Super Series this season. The ex-Strathallan schoolboy. He scored against Gala in the match we covered in round 1 of this cup competition. So, kick to come. It's Hawks 11, Hawick 12. Opportunity here for them to hit the front. The Glasgow Hawks with a kick to come from Andy McLean. He's 2 penalties to his name so far. Again, he struck that kick well, but it's drifted to the
side of the post. So 1 point in it, nip and tuck as close as you like here. Hawks 11, Hawick 12, and it's going to be Hawick to get us back underway. No real win to speak of, Sam, so there's no real advantage to any of the teams that way or one way or another.
No, and then you'll think from this kick-off it's actually probably further against Hawick because they're kicking into the sun now, so the light's coming back into their own eyes.
Yeah, and Ford's hung that one up actually, and there's an onrushing Hawks player had to claim that, and it was Tian Wright. So Hawks now, big hit there on the Hawks player by Dalton Redpath. Cruikshanks gives it some air out to Graham. Graham well tackled in the midfield though by Ethan Riley. Not many get the better of him, and it's Davy again, the scrum half, but he's been well marshalled on that occasion. Hawks now maintaining possession 5 metres outside their own 22, centre field, back into the 22 here to Cruikshanks, and Cruikshanks has put that down the park. Can't go to touch, of course, because it had gone back in, and now it's up to the Hawick 22, and it's Kirkford here. Kirkford hangs back in the 22, and he's again punted that beautifully down towards the touchline, but it's been taken in once again by the fullback Muirhead. Muirhead spotted the gap this time, and Muirhead's through the gap. He's been tackled now, but he's taken Hawks up to the 22, but another indiscretion by Hawks. There was a man dived right over there. I think that was Carlson perhaps, has dived right over the player there, and that's an opportunity coughed up by the Hawks there.
Yeah, and it's weird from Carlson there. He looked like he was waiting to hit a ruck and there was just nobody there, and he just flung himself over it, and that's silly. Like as much as I don't like to say it about a player, because nobody tries to make these mistakes, but that is so silly to make that mistake, and you've cost your team a great attacking play there. Muirhead's now wasted 30 metres of his effort to dodge, weave, duck, dive and get through that oncoming Hawick defensive line. Yeah, it was a great break by Muirhead. He's looked dangerous so far in this game. Him and Eric Davey have looked the part. They're not the biggest performers on the paddock, but they've got a bit of pace about them, and they've got an eye for a gap as well. So it's going to be a Hawick penalty here, 5 metres outside their own 22. The trusty right foot of Kirkford, one would imagine, will send this to the touchline. There's been some running repairs on Andrew Mitchell now. He's heading back into position, so Hawick will take this. Been a substitution actually for Glasgow Hawks and all of that. Shanahan's on, the replacement prop. Looks like it's for Downer. So he's put it to the touchline. He's not made that much territory, Kirkford, but it's going to be yet another Hawick line out. Fraser Rennick, and again it's right in front of us. We've got the perfect view of this one. Rennick, Frizzle came to the front, but that was a decoy, and they went to Fairbairn in the middle, and that's another powerful carry there by Callum Rennick up towards the 10 metre line, the Hawks 10 metre line, and this time it's Jay Linton. Jay Linton bounces off the first man and goes back to the same man for a second crack at it. He's made 5 metres there, Linton, in the heavy traffic. Now it's back to Brunton. Brunton's put in the low kick. That's been beautifully taken in there and sent backwards to where it came, and that's a beautiful touch finder almost up towards the touch line, and it's inside the Hawick 22, and it's been scuffed by Brunton. It was actually half charged down, but Nicky Little's done well to get back in there and mop up. But Hawick still now in their own 22. There's been a few charge downs and deflected kicks so far in this game, and that's a beautiful inside pass there by Fraser Rennick to Ethan Riley, and Ethan Riley's off and running. He's looking for support. Riley straightens and goes because the support wasn't forthcoming, but they're there now, and Rennick sent over that. But Rennick did exactly the same as the Hawks player a few moments ago, and it was almost like there was nothing for him to hit. Yeah, and he's gone right over that. That was it. He tried to cement the ruck before it had happened. He was trying to assert his dominance, and then I did see the second he went, because luckily he went over straight in front of us there, and I did think if he did ping Carlson at the previous one, he's going to have to ping Fraser Rennick there, and quite rightly so, I think. But unfortunately, a great break for Andrew Mitchell on the inside of a forward run off a pod at 9. What's going on?
Yeah, it was a great break. It was actually the inside ball from the man that was penalised at the end of all that, Fraser Rennick, to Ethan Riley, and he was off and running. So Hawks now have kicked the penalty to touch.
Quick update from Highland. It's Highland 0, Kelso 7. Bruce McNeil getting off the mark with a try converted by Dwayne Patterson.
And we're back here. It's going to be Hawks line out again on this near side. Cairncross. It's been a wee bit wobbly, the Hawks line out. It's not been as effective as Hawick's, but they've gone straight to the middle with that one, and it's the captain Lackey that's taken it in. So there's a drive coming on now for Hawks, Hawick style, and it's trundling forward, and Cairncross is directing traffic at the back of it, and they're up towards the Hawick 22 here. The Hawick defenders shuffling back round, But again, it's been held onto in the contact, or a bit of crossing there rather, so say Fergus Hollins, or blocking off. But another penalty against Glasgow Hawks will give Kirkford. Oh no, they've taken it quickly. Fraser Rennick, and he sent it to the touchline. He knows the half is up, and it's been nip and tuck, Sam.
It has. It's been a really feisty first half. I've really enjoyed watching this game of rugby as a fan. I'm privileged to talk about it while we do it. But wow, what an attack! And you see, it's like Cairncross repeatedly getting, like, they're getting 90% of the way there, Glasgow Hawks, and then they're either making silly mistakes or they're just not putting that final, like, dotting the I's and crossing the T's is what people would say, but there's still that little bit of effort that's required just to make it there, and this game could go either way. This is not a case of Hawick have now got, that's the first 40 minutes done, second 40 and we're back on the bus home. They're going to go into that changing room. Matty Douglas and Lewis Bertram are going to be really drilling that attention to detail into this side, and then Nicky, I've remembered his first name, the head coach of Glasgow Hawks, is going to be walking in going, you are in this game. Everybody came in written in the show. You are in this game. Go out there, really cause an upset, and make sure people remember that Glasgow Hawks know how to play rugby here on the west side of Glasgow.
Yeah, they absolutely are in this game, Glasgow Hawks. They've given as good as they've got in a first half that was reasonably fragmented, one might say, because of the number of penalties, but I don't think that's any slur on Fergus Collins. They've all been pretty clear cut from what I can see.
Yeah, I thought Fergus Collins had a great game as a referee this half. He's kept the game flowing as he can. Once it's deteriorated into hear him, scare him, or just sloppy rugby, he's really gone, no, we're just going to reset this goal. I think what tells it, I can only count one scrum that went down to a free kick, and that still came out the back, so they played on. I can only count one, maybe two scrums in that first half, which I labelled as a big battle. As we mentioned, there's two district front rows going against each other here, but, well, the running rugby's been great and the attacking's been great. Now Hawick are going to go downhill in the second half. A real battle at fullbacks here. Muirhead and Kirkford have really been going tit for tat with each other, and then obviously you've got McLean, a fullback by trade as well, operating a sort of tandem for the home side here today.
Yeah.
Well, I generally can't call this game. Hawick probably still favourites, but you can't call it.
Well, it's 2-1 here. Try for Fraser Rennick for Hawick, one for Andrew Mitchell, and the Hawks try by Ryan Flatt. Half-time score, Hawks 11, Hawick 12.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a-brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com for when the heavens open.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
To commemorate the 7th anniversary of the opening of the Borders Railway, an 8 DVD box set is now available featuring the complete series Borders Railway from start to finish, plus the full hour-and-a-half documentary 5 years on, which examines the possibility of an extension to Carlisle, plus extra features including a cab journey along the entire Borders Railway, all for the special price of just £14.99, including post and packing. You can get your copy direct from hotdisc.co.uk/shop. That's hotdisc.co.uk/shop. The 8 DVD box set, The Complete Borders Railway, is available now.
Hi, Nicky Walker here, Curriculum Manager for Borders College Sport. Are you passionate about sport? If so, then look out for the return of our Borders College Rugby, Football and Hockey courses in early 2023.
Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio.
It's half-time in one of our feature matches. Trinity Accies 10, Hawick Quins 17. Remember, Hawick Quins could be top of the table and get promoted out of East League 3 if they win that game today. Latest in the Scottish Cup semi-final, well, drama because a red card for Mar. Ben Johnson, couple of yellows means red. Ayr have taken advantage. Potty's gone over. It's now Ayr 5, Mar 3. Let's go to Scremerston. It's Berwick playing Lasswade. Here's Mickey Unotta.
Berwick 17, Lasswade 7, off to the perfect start. Lovely interplay by Jack Webster, who converted Liam Robson's try under the post, his first Tricenia try for Berwick. Then brilliant hands amongst the three quarters for Ryan Wilson to go over. Webster's kick, 14 points to 0. Lasswade could have opened the scoring drive in Berwick back 20 metres, falling just short, and promptly drove them over on 15. Matthew Smith converting Dale Robertson's try. They're driving every time. Rory Hindhoff was yellow carded for a high tackle, and Jack Webster kicked a late penalty for Berwick. It's been an entertaining full-on half. The speed of Berwick, the sheer weight of Lasswade, and when they clash, Berwick up for it. Berwick 14, Lasswade 7.
So it's going well over there. Don't forget, of course, next week we'll be coming to you live from Milltown in Langham for the Langham Sevens, but also from Pennypit, Preston Lodge against Berwick. The winner effectively stays up in National 2. The loser gets relegated down to National 3 along with 4 other teams. So it's all hotting up there at the moment. We mustn't, of course, discount Dumfries as well. They're still very much in the mix, but today might seal their fate. Let's have a look at some of these latest scores at the moment in the Super Series Sprint. It's Heriot 17, Southern Knights 7 at the moment. As I just mentioned, Mar are down to 14 men with Ben Johnson picking up a second yellow card. It's now Ayr 5, Mar 3, with Potty scoring in that one. He was one of the stars, of course, a couple of weeks ago when they knocked out Selkirk in the semi-final of the Cup. It's GHK bigger now. They've reduced the deficit. It's now bigger, 19, GHK 14. That game was a 2:30 kickoff in National 1. It's half-time at Inverness, Highland 0, Kelso 7 at the moment, so things going well over there at the moment. It's now half-time at Millbrae. The scoreline there, Ayr 5, Mar 3, and Biggar have scored again. It's Biggar 26. It's GHK 14. That's in National 1. Latest from Rubislaw. Aberdeen Grammar 21, Gala 10. Aberdeen not scoring many wins this season so far. They are relegated, of course, but Gala sending a makeshift team up to Rubislaw today, and they're losing 21 points to 10 at the moment. And that indeed is a half-time scoreline. So Highland 0, Kelso 7 is half-time, as we've mentioned. Melrose 29, Dundee 15. Melrose have got the bonus point. A couple of tries from Connor Spence, plus ones from Callum Crookshanks and Luke Townsend. Of course, Melrose could actually finish above Ayr in National 1 and finish in second position. That could happen. Of course, member Gala will be playing Ayr next week, so Ayr obviously looking to get some points to put them above Melrose, but as it stands at the moment, Melrose 29, Dundee 15. That's being played at the Green Yards. We've just heard from Mickey Yanotta at Scremerston. It's Berwick 17, Lasswade 7. A couple of tries for Berwick. Liam Robson and Ryan Wilson converted by Jack Webster, who also got a penalty. That game, of course, whether it's a win or a loss or a draw, really doesn't matter. It's all going to go down to the wire next week at Pennypit. Preston Lodge will take on Berwick in that one. Glasgow Accies 19, Falkirk 12 is the latest score in National 2. Now Falkirk, of course, need a win or a high-scoring draw to be champions today, but if Accies win by 38 points with a try bonus, they will become champions. Any other result, which is the way it is at the moment, Newton Stewart will be crowned champions. It's all exciting in National League 2. In East 3, it's Trinity Accies 10, Hawick Quins 12. Again, Hawick Quins could be champions today up there at Bangham. Watson and Kiori scoring the tries for Hawick Quins. So I think that's pretty much up to date at the moment. Here, of course, at Hillhead Jordan Hill's home ground, which is Hughenden. Formerly, of course, the home of Glasgow District, back in the old grainy black and white days. That stand has now long gone. In fact, the pitches have been changed, and we're now on a brand new service and a new part of this place here in Hughenden, and the pitch is absolutely fantastic. Today it's flat as a pancake, very, very firm, and if you've just joined us here on Borders Rugby Radio, it's Glasgow Hawks 11, Hawick 12. In the other semi-final, it's Ayr 5, Mar 3. Let's have a quick chat with Sam Matthews, and Sam, it couldn't get any closer, could it?
No, 1 point in it, and we spoke about when Hawks got their very first penalty to make it 3-0, almost against what we thought was going to be the flow of the game. game. And now look how pivotal these points are proven here. They've kept themselves very much within touching distance, and to their own right, they've had a very successful first half. I spoke just before we went to the halftime score updates. They've almost been victims of their own downfall. There's times they've just tried to push it when they didn't need to. They could have had another few phases. I spoke with Robin while we were off air there. The tandem fullbacks of Muirhead and McLean, obviously McLean's lined up as a winger, but they're really utilising this attacking threat of Hawick by just being able to pivot almost on a sort of axis and really make sure that Hawick don't get a respite from trying to kick themselves out of trouble. The ball comes back at them immediately, so this can go either way. But we listed the Hawick names before. You've got 12 Southern players in the starting lineup today. The other player, the 13th for Hawick in that district, isn't even on the bench today, so there's talent sprinkled across this whole team. I think everybody except Frizzell, number 6, unfortunately for him, in that 4-pack for Hawick is in that district squad. So there's power, there's skill, and there is intent in that Hawick side, and they will want to be making sure they stay unbeaten towards the end of this season.
The crowd are getting excited here at Hughenden. Glasgow Hawks are back on the pitch there, going from left to right towards the clubhouse end. Hawick sauntering out on the pitch now as well, and here comes the referee Fergus Hollins. It's all set for the second half. Sam Matthews and Robin Purdy.
Yes, we are just about to get back underway. I wouldn't call it a sun-kissed Hughenden, but it's a fine afternoon nonetheless, a fine spring afternoon here in the west end of Glasgow, and it's going to be Hawick to get things back on the go. Kirkford kicked beautifully from hand in the first half. It's going to be he to drop kick things off. Hawks now just players funneling over towards the touchlines in anticipation of this kick. So, as Stuart said, it's Hawks 11, Hawick 12, all to play for in this Scottish Cup semi-final, and we are back underway. 40 minutes from destiny, Cup destiny for either of these teams, and that's been allowed to bounce by Glasgow Hawks, but it's come back into the hands of the man Sam mentioned, or one of the men Sam mentioned. Impressive performer in the first half, Andy McLean. Hawks now 10 metres or so from their own line, happy to go through phases until an exit comes, but there's a counter ruck in there from Hawick, but no, it comes back to Cruikshanks. Cruikshanks does exactly that, sends it to the touchline, and he's got a decent purchase on that. He's taken it up towards the 10 metre line, but it's going to be the first line out of the second half to Hawick, a facet of the game that worked so well for them in the first half. The throw-ins were all on point, the lifting was there, as was the jumping and the handling. So Hawick now about to throw this in. Again, Fraser Rennick awaits the instruction, the code from his captain and fellow front rower Sean Muir. So throw just about to come in, and there it is, and again it's went to the front, and this time it was Fairbairn, and there's runner here in the shape of Riley. Riley's came off his left foot there and bought another metre or so they come round the corner. Hawick, here they come again. It's been almost fumbled there by Kirkford, but he offloads it to Lewis Ferguson. Lewis Ferguson right round off his wing looking for work, and he's been turned there in possession, but it comes back on the Hawick side. Muir, first carry of the second half for the ever-present carrier Sean Muir. Back to Brunton. Brunton's got Jay Linton, and Jay Linton's been well marshalled again. There's always seemed to have been two men on Jay Linton. They know all about him, these Hawks players, but it's gone out the back door again to Riley. Riley cuts back in towards the heavy traffic, and he's beat some of that heavy traffic, and he's still pumping the legs. Ethan Riley, he goes to ground just outside the Hawick 22, so a decent platform here, a decent attacking position for Hawick. And it's the scrum half Welsh who fancies a dart, doesn't make too much yardage, and Redpath picks and goes. Redpath now inches forward, grabs another half a metre or so, out to the try scorer, one of the try scorers in the first half, and he goes route one, Andrew Mitchell. And again it's Welsh, and again they come on the near side, and again it's Linton, his second involvement early on in this second half. Welsh again, he's got Kirkford has to cut back in field to stay away from the touchline. Again he's been well tackled though by the tackling machine in the centre, that is Sam Graham for Glasgow Hawks, but Hawick looking comfortable in possession here. Fraser Rennick pirouettes out of the challenge from Shanahan, the substitute. And here they come again, Hawick, and it's a short offload. There's a dummy run in there, but it's a short offload by Brunton to Ethan Riley. And again, Hawks are over that. Hawks are strong in the tackle. They tried to counter rug, but it was kind of hacked back on the Hawick side. And Callum Rennick says, enough of this, I'm going straight. And he bursts through the challenges, takes them up towards about 10 metres from the line. It's a loose pass there, and it's had to be gathered back in there by Brunton. And Brunton's Yeah, Brunton's held onto that too long. Sadly, you had to scurry back towards the Hawks 22 from maybe 10 metres from the line. But good possession from Hawick, but nothing doing.
Yeah, and you have to say they're starting off the second half exactly how they finished the first one. Frantic, really want to put some serious points on the board and really cement a dominance in this game, which has been very 50-50. Now we see Hawks clear themselves into the Hawick half, but, Kyle Brunton, unfortunately, just held onto the ball too long, couldn't make up his mind, got swarmed, and then that was it.
Let's quickly go to Highland.
It's half-time at Canal Park, and crucially, Kelso hold a 7-point lead. It's been a very cagey affair, and it took until the 35th minute for the first points of the match to come, much to the delight of the large travelling Kelso crowd. After some good hustling from Cammy Brown to win inside a 5-metre line-out, the forwards went to work before Bruce McNeil buried his way over for his 14th try of the season. Dwayne Patterson converted for a 7-0 lead. On the brink of half-time, Captain Frankie Robson was sin-binned for an off-the-ball incident, but at the break, his side lead by 7 points to 0.
And over to Bangham, Hugh Brown.
Hawick Harlequins have scored 3 tries in the first half to give them an advantage over Trinity Accies. Scores from Jack Watson, Kiori and Nathan Murray put the Wilton Lodge side ahead, but 2 tries from Trinity Accies means they're not out of it by any means. But there's one hand on the trophy for the Hawick Quins. At half-time, it's Trinity Accies 10, Hawick Harlequins 17.
Bit of an injury to Fraser Rennick at the moment. That gives me time to tell you that there's been some more scores in the game at Hartree Mill. Biggar 47, GHK 14 is a latest score right now. And just coming in, it's Trinity Accies 10, Hawick Harlequins 24. They've got the bonus point, and they're 14 points ahead now, heading for promotion. But Lasswade are coming back at Scremerston. It's Berwick 17, it's Lasswade 14, and Ayr 5, Mar 6. Sturgeon gets his second penalty. Don't forget Mar down to 14 men with a couple of Ben Johnson yellows, which makes a red.
And we're back here with a Hawick scrum. Cruikshanks kicked a penalty to touch. It was the throw in by Cairncross was not straight to say the least, so it's going to be a Hawick scrum 15 metres in, right on halfway over on the far side. And the Hawick scrum is solid. Not been many scrums in this game so far, as Sam alluded to at half time, but it's Brunton here looking for his runners. Riley goes to the left boot, and that's a good kick by Riley, and it bounces into touch. So Hawick veering it up.
Yeah, well, that was it. Riley's not normally one to put the boot to the ball. He normally likes to take that contact. He really likes to set a platform for the rest of his back line, but he clearly saw the space. He must have timed that perfectly, because that was very close to this close touchline to us. But, the linesman said no, it bounced inside first and then went out. So now Hawks have to defend just outside their own 22 from what will probably be a very competitive line-out from the Hawick side, you have to feel.
Yeah, they'll be looking to compete this, absolutely, Hawick. And again, the prop that's back on for the Hawks. Downer gives the instruction to Paul Cairncross. 2 good hookers on show today, and Hawick did compete that, but it was won cleanly by Tian Wright at the front. The open side had come up the lineup, but it was stolen there by Sean Fairbairn. Sweeties from a bairn, as they say, and off and running again is the hugely impressive Callum Rennick, and we all paused for breath there because Rennick was right through, but it's been called back for a knock on somewhere in the thieving of the ball there by Sean Fairbairn. There must have been a Hawick hand knocked the ball forward, because Fergus Hollins has brought them back. I think it was possibly seen there by his AR Gordon Galashan on this near side, but he's been really, really impressive in this game so far, the Hawick open side Callum Rennick, and he's off and running again there.
Yeah, and I think he couldn't believe his luck when everybody stopped. Unfortunately, he was the one that heard the whistle last, but that's a whole new thing for Hawks to think about now. Sean Fairbairn is now reaching over and pinching balls at the base of a line-out maul. How do you defend against that if you're playing against these tall, rangy players that Hawick seem to have from 1 to 5 for certain? They're all tall and they all know how to steal. Like, they're masters of dark arts in rugby.
Yeah, they certainly are, and it's been fed there, the scrum by Eric Davey. And that scrum's gone down, but referee's happy enough. No, he is not. It's been awarded in favour of Hawks this penalty. So scrum penalty conceded by Hawick, and we're back where we were in the first half with yet another penalty. So it's going to be Cruikshanks this time. He puts it to the touchline, and it's going to be another Hawks line out on this near side. Again, not too far from our position here, so it's going to be Cairncross. There's been a huge number of line outs in this game so far, predominantly because there's been a huge number of penalties, the vast majority of which have gone to the touchline. So here we go again, Cairncross. He's got Ryan, the rangy figure of Ryan Burke towards the front, but that's a cute line out, and he's exposed a massive gap there. Eric Davies gone right through the middle of the line out, up towards the 22. That was clever stuff from the Hawks there, one right off the training ground, and here they come now with Cruikshanks. Cruikshanks out to Graham. Graham's got Pinkerton. Pinkerton misses out his man to the far side, and it's McLean. McLean scooted round the Hawick player, and McLean is in on that far side, and Hawks are back in front.
Yeah, and you have to say Lewis Ferguson there's going to be feeling a bit sorry and a bit bad for his team there, because he's the one that's missed that tackle there on McLean, but that's all started from that line out there, and so the listeners can understand what happened there. That was a 5-man line out, including the scrum half, and Glasgow Hawks up with a pod of 3 at the back and your 1 man at the front to spread that, making the Hawick defence stay honest. And then what happened was, as they just slowly parted across, left this huge gap, Hawick tried to compete by getting a man in the air as well. Cairncross with a beautiful lofted throw over the first man. Davey pulled it out the air, and we said not the biggest man in the world, so it's going to be quite hard for him to get that. Gets through a few phases later, and then don't take any credit away from Andy McLean there. That was a tough finish. He was still about 15 metres out, but he made it look easy, and he pumped the air with his fist as he got across that touchline there, or that try line, sorry.
Yeah, it was a great finish by the youngster Andy McLean, and it's going to be him to try and turn his 5 points into 7. Tight towards the far touchline here for the right-footed kicker. Begins his run up, and again he struck it ever so well, but no, it just drifts across the front of the post. So Hawks now back in the lead. It's Glasgow Hawks 16, Hawick 12, and the nip and tuck nature of this game continues. We have a game of rugby on our hands here at Hughenden. It is a cup semi-final, absolutely, and it's going to be Hawick again through Kirkford. Gets things back underway, and it's another high hanger by Ford, and it drops right on the try scorer, the young winger Andy McLean, heavily involved in the last minute or so. Try, goal kick, now receives the kick-off, and again it's Davey. Davey looks to fire it out once again to Mike Downer, who's carried what seems like umpteen times so far this afternoon. It's Davey back to Cruikshanks, and Cruikshanks has went down the middle of the pitch this time with a long raking punt right into the arms of Kirkford, and Kirkford's seen a bit of space there, and it drifts towards the touchline, and that's a beautiful kick again from Kirkford. He's one of those players, Sam, that just has time in everything he does, and that's the stamp, that is the mark of a class player, when they've got time on the ball every single time. It is, and I was saying this to Stuart at the very beginning of our broadcast this afternoon. This is my first time getting to watch this Hawick team in person. Obviously our incredible broadcast and the work you guys have done for years has allowed me to keep up with it, but I know Kirkford's name gets mentioned every week. He's a player with real skill about him, and he knows how to get it done. And then, like you say, he judged the distance between the 9 and the 10 trying to cover that kick there, and just found that piece of open grass and just got straight into touch, and now we attack. Yeah, Hawick come again, and it's been taken in. It was touched obviously by a Glasgow Hawks player on the way to the touchline, so it was a Hawick line out inside the Hawks 22. It was thrown in by Fraser Rennick and taken comfortably by Sean Fairbairn. Now they're inching forward, Hawick, towards this line, and there's another drive coming on. They're over the line, Hawick, and the referee's got a decision to make here. I think it's Nicky Little who's trundled forward and fallen over the line. He's going to have a chat here with his AR on the far side, Willie Anderson. What is the decision going to be here? This could be crucial. The pace really got added to that rolling maul. The officials are having a chat, and the try is awarded. Hawick try goes the way of Nicky Little, and now it's Hawick that are back in front, and that all stems, Sam, from the brilliant touch finder from Kirkford. Yeah, and then, there's, like, Kirkford, like we say, he's making this game look ridiculously easy for himself. He always seems to be in the right place. He's never out of position. He finds the kicks where he wants to put them in, where he knows his team can capitalise on it. But now, as he goes from there, you have that driving line out, and we spoke about the strength of this pack at half-time with all those southern team members. The talk of rugby world in Scotland this week has been these districts. You've got 7 proud southern players who really wanted to get over that line, and Nicky Little, experienced man, what's this, 134th game for Hawick today, I think, by our dodgy maths and what the Hawick team were putting out on social media. He knows what to do from 5 metres out at the base of a maul. He's a skilled operator, and quite rightly just deserved try for a good bit of clinical play from Hawick there. Yeah, been around the block, Nicky Little, and the conversion attempt comes in, and again it's drifted just wide. It was not an easy kick from Kirkford, so 3 tries to Hawick. current scoreline is Glasgow Hawks 16, Hawick 17.
In the other Scottish Cup semi-final, Mar have extended their lead. It's Mar 13 now at Millbrae, Ayr with 5, but of course Mar playing with 14 players. It's Harlequins on a stroll now, 38 points to 10, a hat-trick for Nathan Murray, and a second for Watson to add to Kiori. So Harlequins marching towards the East League 3 title. At Canal Park, though, Highland have scored. It's Highland 5, it's Kelso 7, Grant Jameson scoring the try. The conversion rattled off the posts.
And Hawick have cleared their lines here down the field, and it was taken in by McLean. Hawks now in possession. Looked like a hint of a forward pass somewhere in there by the Hawks players, but they're in, like I say, they're maintain possession. They're up towards the halfway line again through their big ball carrying forwards. Oh, there's an inside break there by Pinkerton. The offload was by Sam Graham, found his centre partner, and now they're up and over the Hawick 10 metre line and still in possession. Cruikshanks out to Hastings. Hastings, the number 8, he's given a lovely offload to Carlson, the Swede. Oh, but that's great mopping up, great defensive work there by Callum Rennick to get his body in between the two Hawks players, and he comes up with the ball now, and what a performer he's been so far in this game. And it was Sean Muir with another carry in there, and it's Welsh at the base. Welsh back to Brunton. Brunton aims towards that far touchline, but it's going to come up short. No, it's bounced just in field and gone out of touch, and that again is another wonderful raking touch finder by a Hawick player.
I know, and what an attention that was to detail. They really set it up like the back line was there. So we spoke about the tandem fullbacks for Hawks, and Andy McLean had to come up to join that defensive line at that threat that they were going to attack from that turnover ball, because I know a lot of teams capitalise on that. When they think you've got a staggered field you're going to attack, there's gaps that open up, and then he managed to get that pace, and the discombobulation Andy McLean had from trying to return to where his defensive position should be caused him to miss the ball, misjudge the flight. It goes out. Now Hawick are going to use this weapon of that line out in defence now to try and get this ball back.
Yeah, just inside their own half. Hawick, again it's Rennick. No, it's been taken in by Hawks that time. So here they come again, up into the Hawick half, Glasgow Hawks, and it's with the big second rower, Ryan Burke. He's hauled down on the 10 metre line. So Cruikshanks again. Cruikshanks dummies and goes, fires it back inside, but it's been mopped up by a Hawick player. This time it was Ethan Riley. So Hawick doing the dirty work in defence, but that's a loose pass, and it's been knocked forward there by the rangy second row Ryan Burke. He did try to claim it, but the referee's saying it was knocked forward by a Hawick player first.
Some later scores coming in. The Super Series sprint, 24-12 now to Heriots over Southern Knights. Sturgeon having a great day. Colin Sturgeon at Millbrae. He scored all the points. A try conversion, 2 penalties. It's now 13 points to 5 to Mar. Glasgow Hawks 16, Hawick 17 is the latest score here at Hughenden. Aberdeen Grammar 28, Gala 10 is the latest score. A red card for Gala. Bigger 47, GHK 14 is a full-time result. That was a 2:30 kick-off. It's Highland 5, Kelso 7 at Canal Park. Melrose 32, Dundee 22 is the latest score, and Berwick are back in front in National 2. Berwick 22, last week 21, and Glasgow Accies 34, Falkirk 15. If it stays that way, Newton Stewart will be going up, but Glasgow Accies need to win by 38 points for them to be promoted tonight. Hamilton 15, Kirkcaldy 17 is the latest score, and currently in East League 3, Trinity Accies 10, Harlequins 38, heading for promotion.
And we're back here with the Hawks scrum, centre field, 5 metres or so in from the Hawick 10 metre line. So decent position, decent attacking position for the Hawks, and the scrum is solid enough. So it's at the base or the back of the scrum with Hastings, and Davy to Cruikshanks. Cruikshanks has got runners, one of which is Graham, and Graham has to be hauled down by one of the Hawick players, and it's taken on there by the wing forward Tian Wright, and now Hawks come again, and there's been a miss, there's been a dropped pass there, and the frustration shows on the faces and the body language of the Hawks players, and there was a chance there, Sam.
There was, and it was great play by the backs of Hawks there. That scrum took place on the 10, right in the centre of the field, so you watch the backs, they split, and it all came down to Muirhead there, the fullback. He really had to hold his nerve as to how late he think he could give away what side they were going to attack, while still making the position he did. And then obviously you had Tane Wright, the open side forward, you had Sam Graham there as well. He had to really hold his lines, draw the defenders. Cruikshanks took a shot for his troubles there, the 10, giving that line last second offload, but if that one pass had gone to hand, we could be talking about a totally different situation now, besides a scrum for Hawick on their own 22.
Yeah, inside their own 22, scrum at Hawick, and it's been a great battle between the two sets of centres so far this afternoon. All four really performing well. It's going to be head and feet to Hawick here. Gareth Welsh. Scrum for front rows come together. It's now at the base, now at the back, Jay Linton. It's moving forward, that Hawick scrum, and the Hawks have given away another penalty, so it's going to be a cheap exit here for Hawick as far as Glasgow Hawks are concerned. They were very much in the ascendancy with a beautiful attacking play, but they they've given away a scrum penalty, and I think just a wee bit of wind's picked up here, Sam, and it's possibly in Hawick's favour, and it's maybe blowing across the pitch a wee bit, but it's going to suit Kirk Ford, and he's put his right foot through that one as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to suit attacking away from us at this stand here at Jordan Hill Head.
Yeah, I think it's going to go in across that way, yeah.
And what also mentions as well, winning that scrum penalty, now even more pivotal. Instead of Brunton having to kick out of hand rushed, they also get the ball back, and he had time to place his kick as well. So, simple rugby, but simple rugby wins games. It's effective, and that's why it is simple, because everybody focuses on it.
Yeah, so it's going to be the 387th line out of the afternoon, and it's Hawick's, and it's been taken in. Wasn't the cleanest, but it's been taken in, and again that man Callum Rennick does the donkey work at the back of the line out and steals 2 or 3 metres, and the box kick goes up by Welsh, and that's going to be challenged. No, it's gone out on the full. Lewis Ferguson was herring after it. I thought he fancied it, but no, it's gone back. So we're going to be right back where we were with another line out, this time for Hawks, and this could go any way.
Yeah, it could, and it'll be really interesting to see how Andy Hill has spoke to his team at half time, because we spoke about Cairncross having a very good game in the loose, but his refinement skills, the line out throws, that simple pass to hand, just making sure things were going in the scrum okay, were really a focus point, unfortunately for him, because he was so involved in that first half that it kind of stood out to him as making a few mistakes, probably because he touched the ball more than anybody else for the Hawks team in that first half. But it'll be really now, how do they attack this? They have the forwards pack, they have the skill, they have the experience. How do they attack this now to make sure they stay in this game?
Yeah, well, the last line out throw went awry, and that one's been an overthrow as well. So it's gone backwards. It was fumbled backwards at the tail of the line out. And here comes another of the substitutes. This time it's Max Crumlish, the ex-Cambus Lang and Hamilton player. 14 games in the Premiership for him this season. That was his first involvement. He trucked it up hard, but subsequently the Hawks have thrown it forward again. So all just a wee bit scrappy at the moment. Max Crumlish is on, like I say. He's quite a big operator, quite a big character for this, for as a player to come off the bench, but it's going to be a Hawick scrum nonetheless. The Hawick team still as is at the moment, as started, so it's going to be Gareth Welsh. Now this Hawick scrum is bang on centre field, it's right on their own 10 metre line, so opportunity for the backs to split here and work a bit of magic, but the front rows, we await them to come together. They come together now, and it's been fed, so it's at the base now, and Welsh goes in to dig for it. Welsh now, Ford's came up, but Ford decides to kick it, and it's been kicked over the head of the winger Ryan Flett, and it drifts towards the touchline, and that's a good net gain for Hawick there, because Ewan Muirhead, the fullback, had came over, and under immense pressure has sclaffed his kick, for want of a better word. So territorial gain there, and it's going to be a Hawick line out as Fraser Rennick comes to the touchline, literally right in front of us here. So getting to the point where the next score could be crucial, particularly if it goes Hawick's way and particularly if it's converted, and that's what they'll be looking to do here. Line out, 5 metres inside their own half. Rennick, the ex-Southern Knight, goes this time to Fairbairn again, and that's another beautiful line out by Hawick, and this time it's Ford at first receiver, and they've maintained possession here again. Hawick, here they come. Mitchell straightens and goes, always takes a man or two to pull Mitchell down, and he's presented the ball beautifully, but it's been fumbled there by Dalton Redpath, and the groans of the Hawick fans will tell you that. So ball here for Hawks to play with. They've got a knock-on advantage coming. Hawick tenacious there in the ruck situation, but Fergus Hollins, the referee, is going to bring them back, and that just gives Hawks that wee bit of a let-off, because Hawick were just starting to kind of build up a wee head of steam in the last few minutes there, a lot more possession.
Yeah, and as you think, when the forwards traditionally have that off-9 challenge, you know there's going to be a forward-on-forward collision 9 times out of 10. It's how you build your defence, it's how you build your attack as well for those phases. So when you see a player, he was given an awful pass, Dalton Redpath, I think it's the first bad pass Gareth Welsh has thrown this afternoon, but it was clearly out in front of him. But it gives such a psychological warfare as well, of like, this team are not focused on us, they are having to focus on the ball, they're having to check their skills, as we've seen scrappy moments in this game today. Hawks will really take an advantage from that, and now they really need to attack this scrum, I feel, after they conceded that scrum penalty at the last one as well.
So the scrum was about to be set, but referees brought them back up.
Okay, more result or latest scores for you, and it's looking good for Mar. They're leading 20 points to 5. Andrew Acton has just gone over for a try which has been converted by Sturgeon. Even though they're down to 14 men, they lead 20 points to 5. It's still 17-16 here to Hawick against Glasgow Hawks. Berwick 22, last week 21. Glasgow Hawks, if they're going to get promoted, they need to score a lot more points. They're leading 34-15 at the moment. If it stays that way, it will be Newton Stewart that goes up.
And Hawick have given away a scrum penalty there, so the Hawks backs all come in, rushing in to congratulate the front row players. A lot of back slapping going on in there, and it's going to give the opportunity for Gavin Cruikshanks, who's gone well this afternoon, to punt it down towards the Hawick 22, and he's done exactly that. Literally, this line out will be on the Hawick 22, so good kick there from Cruikshanks, and a good opportunity now for the Hawks to just exert that bit of territory, that bit of possession, and that bit of pressure that will come from this situation, provided the line out doesn't go awry. Paul Cairncross it will be again over on that far side, and again just a bit of a breeze over, more so over there where there's less of a build from the stand, and it's Cairncross. Cairncross finds his man that time right at the front, played it safe, and it was Ryan Burke who took it in. But it's been fumbled by Hawks in there, and that will suit Hawick just fine.
I know, it's actually it's frustrating to watch as a commentator there, because they did exactly what they needed to do. Cairncross had a few poor throws in at the line out. They went, we'll play it safe, we're going to 2. Hawick probably knew he was going to 2, but they thought, we'll wait for it to come down, we'll attack it once it's tried to form the ball, and that's exactly what they did. The mashing of players trying to get together there, and it's such a dangerous game in line out mauls nowadays. The second you are unbound from that starting 3 in the line out and you get in front of a player trying to get the ball, you will be pinged for it all the time, because they need to find a way to make these mauls more defence happy as well, because they can become undefendable if they really get going.
There's been a couple of changes for Hawick. Matty Carrier's on at hooker for Fraser Rennick, and Declan Lightfoot's on at scrum half as well for Gareth Welsh. So Hawick's scrum's been fed by Lightfoot, and it comes back to Ethan Riley. Ethan Riley straightens and goes. Hawick in over that ball, and it's going to come back cleanly to Kirk Ford. Good pass that by Lightfoot to settle any nerves he might have had. It's been hoofed down the park by Ford, but it's been taken in by a Hawks player. That's the fullback Ewan Muirhead. So Hawks now up on halfway line, but another penalty being conceded by the Hawks, and it's just got so scrappy. And for this reasonably large crowd, Sam, at the moment, this last 10 minutes, you've got to say it's not been much of a spectacle.
No, it's not. It's been quite annoying to watch as a rugby fan. You've seen mistakes that you wouldn't attribute to under-18s rugby, but it does make for a more head-on-head contest. And now, as Kirk Ford sends us deep into the Hawks territory, that was another great kick from hand by him there. But as you say, these penalties are just starting to amass, and we spoke about it at Melrose Sevens last week. Penalties can kill games for each team, and penalties breed penalties in this sport. So they really need to get a stamp on this right now, especially the Hawks as they're trailing.
And it is yet another wonderful kick to touch from Kirk Ford. He sent that down to maybe 10 metres or so from he's used the wind to his advantage, this kind of ever stiffening breeze. So it's going to be Matty Carrier to throw in at the line. It's going to be about 10 metres or so from the Hawks line, and this is Matty Carrier territory if the line out goes well. But no, it has went well, but it came back. They're not going to get a chance to drive at Hawick, but they're going to certainly maintain possession, and it's come back from the ruck. So here they come. Sean Muir trundles it up. Another carry for him. Lightfoot's in there. Jay Linton's been reasonably well policed by Hawks this afternoon, and it's a scrum coming Hawick's way this time. The possession didn't come all that quickly, and there was a few Hawks players screaming for a penalty there, but it's going to be a Hawick scrum. So like I say, Matty Carrier's in the middle of that front row now, adding his bulk to the scrum situation.
Let's quickly go to Canal Park.
Over an hour gone here in Inverness, and Kelso hold the narrowest of leads. 7-0 up at the interval. The visitors were reduced to 13 men when Hamish Tweedy was yellow carded in 45 minutes. In second row, Grant Jameson burrowed over for a try for the hosts, only for Scott Fraser's conversion attempt to come off the upright. Less than 20 minutes to go here, and it's Highland 5, Kelso 7.
And if it stays that way, Kelso are promoted.
Yeah, and promoted as champions they will be, the Tweedsiders. But in this particular game here at Hughenden, it's Glasgow Hawks against Hawick in the Cup semi-final. The free kicks come from that scrum, so it's been taken quickly by Lightfoot, and there was dancing feet in there by Mitchell. Back now, and here comes Kirkford. Kirkford with a long cut pass to Ronan McKean, and Ronan McKean's dropped it with the line, and albeit a Glasgow Hawks player at his mercy, but that's been coughed up by Hawick, and Charlie Welsh is on for Hawick now as well. So Hawks will be looking to exit here. They're still inside their own 5 metre line, and it goes back to Cruikshanks, and Cruikshanks has kicked really well there, but it's not gone to touch. So Ford inside to Charlie Welsh, this big youngster Welsh. He goes wide to the kicker, that's Lewis Ferguson, and Lewis Ferguson's tried to find touch there. He's tried to squirm it in the corner, but that's not gone to plan at all, and it's gone dead. So it's going to be a scrum here to Hawks rather, 5 metres outside their own 22.
Another try for Mar. Jake Jameson has gone over. It's now Ayr 5, it's Mar 25 in the other Scottish Cup quarter-final, but certainly it's unresolved here.
Yes, it is indeed unresolved. It's looking for all the world like Mar have secured the first final place in the Murrayfield showpiece, but who is going to join them? Will it be Glasgow Hawks? Will it be Hawick? We've got a scrum here to Glasgow Hawks, 5 metres outside their own 22. Possibly a chance gone a begging for Hawick there. They were up towards the line, but the ball was spilled. It was a massive miss pass to Ronan McKean, and on this occasion he couldn't be the hero as he was a few weeks ago, but it's a powerful scrum coming on there. Now the referee's deemed that that's gone round, and he's awarded it back to Glasgow Hawks, but there must have been the thought of a penalty there, Sam, I would have thought.
You have to say, I think he's trying to just make sure that it gets it. He doesn't want to turn this into a penalty fest. I think he's heard us talking on the microphones here. He really wants to just make sure we get some good flow in rugby here, and it's going to go that way, but I think that was the correct call. As a defensive scrum in the position where they are, Hawick would have tried to manipulate something there, so probably a smart call to just reset it and say, let's keep front rows, let's keep this honest, we'll go again, we'll get some rugby, and let's make this semi-final one that we talk about for a long while.
So there's another Hawks substitute, and it's the second rower departing the scene, Ryan Burke. He's offered himself up for plenty of work this afternoon. Burke, the ex-West of Scotland youngster, and one-time Fuzzrock Glasgow Academy. So here we are again, Hawks scrum, exact same position as we were a minute or so ago, and it's fed by Davey. Impressive performer this afternoon. That's a rock-solid scrum, but it's gone down now, actually. What's coming here? We will all wait with bated breath. No penalty by the looks of things, so it'll be take 3. Another Hawks scrum. It was looking solid enough till the two front rows gone down, and you can almost feel, oh no, penalty's gone the way of Hawick. So penalty to Hawick in an imminently kickable position. Let's see what they're going to do. What would you do, Sam?
I'm going straight for the post here personally, with 1 point in it in a semi-final.
Kirkford's come forward, and Kirkford's going to the touchline. We seem to get that one wrong every single week.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, and he's out there, and he is out there with that cultured right boot of his. And what do we know? Because he has put that down to 5 metres out. So Hawick now starting to build a wee bit ahead of steam here.
They have to score here, though. They have to claim points now. They've turned down those 3.
You would think so. It's going to be a throw-in. Matty Carrier this time with the darts. 5 metres from the Hawks line, over on the far side here at Hughenden. Carrier it is. And he goes to Fairbairn. That's beautifully taken in by Fairbairn. And now the drive comes on. There's a wee bit of space opened up there, and Carrier's towards the tail, and Carrier's there, and Carrier's over. Yes, Carrier's over. The referee's hand is in the air, and the substitute, Matty Carrier, brings up another try for Hawick, and there's a wee bit of breathing space there now there, Sam.
There is. That will put a lot of heart rates down at ease for that Hawick bench over there. And like we said, they have to score. You know, we spoke about Fraser Rennick. He had such an incredible first half in that boiler house for Hawick there, but you know, you can bring on club captain Matty Carrier, who actually has more appearances than Fraser Rennick for Hawick. So you talk about somebody that knows what it means to this club and how much they want to keep this dominance going. and he's done exactly that. We said you miss the 3, you don't take the 3 points, you've got to score. A textbook line out. It was a great throw from him. He hit Fairbairn right at the peak of his jump there, and then nobody's competing with that. Bring it down. Great Callum Rennick as well. He was great in that maul. All Matty Carey had to do was pick up and get that last 2 yards, and he's a burly figure who knows how to power himself over a try line.
He does. That's his 4th of the season. 14 games in the league this season for Matty Carey, but most of them from the bench, admittedly. So he's not been as prolific this season, try-scoring wise, as he was last season. But what an impact player to bring on! What a man to come on and steady a ship as Kirkford lines up this conversion. Struck it forward, and he struck it beautifully. And this Hawick crowd are just starting to get a bit more vociferous. There's just a bit more breathing space, a bit more daylight, and the scoreline is out to Hawks 16, Hawick 24, and it is more than a one-score semi-final now. So Hawks are going to have to find something here. Callum Harrison is on, the ex-Greenock man. He takes the place of Gavin Cruikshanks at standoff, who's went pretty well this afternoon, it has to be said. So first kick there for Harrison, and it's been taken in by Jay Linton. Jay Linton trucks it up into the heavy traffic where he's been most of the afternoon rather than in the wide spaces. He's done a lot of the dirty work this afternoon, Linton. And again, another big old kick there from Kirkford down the paddock, but it's been taken in by the number 8, Seb Hastings, and he is allowed to build up a bit ahead of steer up towards the halfway line. But Hawick have turned him over. Now Hawick are off and running through. Sean Muir, the captain. Sean Muir makes 10 metres, and they're going to be maintain possession. It's Lightfoot out to Callum Rennick, the outstanding Callum Rennick this afternoon, and they're up and again into the Hawks 22 Hawick, and they've really stamped their authority in the last 10 minutes or so, and that's the mark of a champion team. And here they come again. The fitness on this man Sean Muir is ridiculous. He's trucked it yet again, and there's another penalty coming. So they're playing with a free ball here, and Lightfoot fancies a crack. He takes it back into the forwards. Lightfoot now, or Lightfoot's presented, and again it's Muir, this time playing scrum half, and it's Kirkford at first receiver. Ford to Riley to Charlie Welsh. Charlie Welsh has got Dalton Redpath, but the pass went behind Redpath. But they knew they were playing with a free ball, Hawick, and Fergus Hollins has brought them back. The advantage wasn't enough, and they'll be happy enough. Now again, Sam, I'm going to ask you, at 24 points to 16 up, this is reasonably kickable for a kicker, Kirkford's calibre. Easy for me to say. And what do you think they're going to do here?
Well, I would have said kick for posts if I hadn't just watched them go for the touch when they were 1 point ahead, but I'm seeing a few hands. I think I saw Andrew Mitchell pointing at the post.
The pointing is...
That'll be see how that goes. I think they are going to go for the post. They should go for the posts. Make that get that 10. Your 8 points that'll take to 11. So that negates the penalty as well. That becomes a 2-try lead, which can be pivotal because it also requires conversions.
Yeah, and the referee's still not signalled here. I did see Sean Muir point towards the post, the Hawick captain, but I haven't seen the signal from the referee yet, Fergus Hollins. But yeah, it looks like, yes, there's a signal now coming in, so sensible decision in my humble opinion. Kirkford is going to have a kick at the sticks with a scoreline Hawks 16, Hawick 24. This, as you say, Sam, could be pivotal because it takes it out just that bit further out of the reach of Glasgow Hawks, and it'll be a confidence blow as well to the home side. As mentioned earlier, it looks for all money that Mar will be in the final awaiting one of these two. Mar playing much of the game with 14 men, are a number of points to the good. It was a good effort by them down at Millbrae this afternoon. Kirkford, as the crowd falls silent, runs up. Oh my word, it's somehow managed to squirm over the bar. That was an absolutely horrendous effort by Kirkford, but he's got that much class about him that even the horrendous efforts managed to squirm their way over. And whether it's a thing of aesthetic beauty or the most horrendous thing you've seen this afternoon, it went over, and that's all that matters.
He'll be thank you. The record book says kick went over, not kick went over terribly for that one. That was truly awful. But now, how do Glasgow Hawks attack this when they see a 10-point plus deficit on that scoreboard now, with not long left in this game?
Hawks 16, Hawick 27 now, and again it's Carrier. The kickoff's been gathered in by Hawick, and Carrier been impressive since he came on, takes it in there, and now Hawick look to go, and it's been fumbled, and it's gone backwards, says the referee, and there he goes again, Callum Rennick, and Callum Rennick's done the right thing to kick it down the park. He was a bit isolated there, he'd made the break, and he's sent it right down to 5 metres kicked from the Hawks line, and now everything is going the way of Hawick, but you make your own luck.
You have to, and Callum Rennick's deserved that. He's maybe not got a try there, but that's definitely going to be a conversation piece on this Hawick bus back that they've brought up today, because he's had a great game in the dirty work, and now he got his reward. He's got a bit of limelight there, and it'll be interesting to see how they attack this one, because unfortunately they don't get the ball back. It was not a 50-22, so can Hawick target what has been a weak point, unfortunately, for, I keep feeling bad mentioning his name in this, but his lineouts have not been good today. Cairncross for Hawks, very good game in every other aspect, but it is a weakness that they should exploit here, especially on the Hawks 5.
Yeah, and there's a bit of movement, and again it didn't go to hand, and there was a Hawick hand in there, and it almost, if that had been gathered in by a Hawick player, the gap had opened up in the middle of the line out, and he would have been over there, the Hawick player. And Cairncross again just a bit inaccurate there. There was a bit of movement in the line out. There wasn't much by way of lifting or by way of jumping, in fairness to Cairncross. I think it was a breakdown in communication more than anything else from the whole pack there, but it was knocked forward by Hawick, but Hawick camped exactly where they want to be.
And more drama, it's Ayr 10, they've scored a try, Stuart Collier, Mar 25, but how about this? Glasgow Hawks need to score 53 points, they're up to 48 now, it's 48-15, they're beating Falkirk, who were the favourites to go up. They just need another try and they could be doing it. If that doesn't happen, then it's Newton Stewart that gets promoted.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're keeping on top of what's happening there, Stuart the mathematician. And it's a Hawks scrum here at Hughenden, and the Hawick pressure again comes on, and it's been stolen by Hawick, and Hawks players are round. Has the Hawick player got isolated? No, the Hawick forwards have got back round, so again here come Hawick, and again it's Lightfoot at the base. This time again he goes to the number 8, Jay Linton, as good a player as in the top division for my money, and again the Hawick forwards come round the corner, really starting to exert their physical presence and their physical dominance now. And Sean Muir thought better of the pass, tidies it up, and he's again another massive clear it there by Callum Rennick. Kirkford is throwing it. Oh, there's a big shot in there on a Hawick player. 3 Hawks players in with the defensive duties there, but again it's come back, and again there's a Hawick player coming at a cute angle, and again it's Carrier. So here come Hawick again, still in the 22. Sean Muir once again with another carry, and again he sets it back beautifully, Muir. So Lightfoot. And again it's Redpath out the back this time to Kirkford, and here comes Riley. Riley's got a man, Riley doesn't need a man. Riley is through like a hot knife through butter. What a signing he has been for Hawick since he rocked up from Australia, and for me, Sam, that puts this contest to bed.
Yeah, and I think it's been very well deserved. It really cements it. What I noticed there, listening to you commentate on that, is the relentlessness of a Hawick team in attack when they smell blood. You were like, again, a carry, again. There is no respite. The defence don't know where they are half the time, because the second they look up from the previous collision to even assess where the next attack coming from, they're normally greeted by somebody with, like, you know, the frame of Matty Carrier or Sean Muir. That is not easy, and if you are not getting that dominant front foot hit on players of this standard, you are just going to slowly rock backwards towards your line, and then great play from Dalton Redpath there to be the pivot in that attacking triangle, sends it straight out the back, and like you said, Ethan Riley, he could have stopped, tied his shoelaces, done whatever he wanted to do. Sudoku walked under the try line, he was untouched, and it was clean and it was pivotal, and that was the championship side Hawick that we've been talking about all season there in full force.
Yeah, you mentioned the word relentless, and that's exactly what they've been in this second half, and it is absolutely the mark of a champion team. They've not had a game for 3 weeks, they've not had rugby for 3 weeks since their game against the Ackies in the last round. The first half they've found they've worked their way to find their rhythm again, and this second half they've come out and they've blown Glasgow Hawks away as it stands, and Kirkford misses the conversion. Not that it will matter, and that, as they say, is that Hawick will contest the Scottish Cup final in their quest for a double. The referee Fergus Hollins has drawn it to a close, and Sam, on the balance of play, absolutely well deserved.
You would, the scoreline may be a bit harsh on Hawks, but everything they did that took them away was self-inflicted. As we said, you know, Hawick have ended up doubling them 32 points to 16, but, you know, a great semi-final there, especially that first half. Very much enjoyed watching it as a fan, as a commentator. Hawick, I think we all knew at the start of the day, if we had to put our money on it or talk on Grand National Day, we were going to send them to BT Murrayfield. In that second half, they've really cemented it and deserved it, and we're in for a humdinger now. A 14-man Mar have just booked their place as well at BT Murrayfield.
Yeah, so Hawick march on to Murrayfield on Coronation Day. Will they be crowned Scottish Cup champions on 6th of May? Well, Mar will have something to say about that, but it would take a brave person to bet against the repeat of 2002 when the Green Machine reigned supreme with a League and Cup double. Final score here at Hughenden, it's Glasgow Hawks 16, Hawick 32.
OK, let us go to Scremerston. It's all over there. Berwick against Lasswade. Mickey Unotta.
Berwick 22, Lasswade 21. Berwick 17-7 up at half-time. Liam Robson's first try and a swift move amongst the backs for Ryan Wilson to crash over. Jack Webster kicking 7 points. The pack of Lasswade resulted in their converted try and driving over early in the second half. Campton Berwick's 22, they went in front, 21 points to 17. Only for Berwick to break through courtesy of Ben Nicholson. So, only 4 points and not 5. So that means they have to win next week. Berwick 22, Lasswade 21.
Yes, we'll be there at Penny Pit. We can't wait for that one. Preston Lodge versus Berwick in the National 2 shootout, if you like. Whoever wins will stay up. Whoever loses are going to go down. It's going to be a cracker. We've also got the Langham Sevens next week as well. Let's have a quick look at some more latest scores. And Gala have come back. They're now leading 29 points to 28, despite going down to 14 men with a red card earlier on. And how about this? Glasgow Accies 54, Falkirk 15. It's Glasgow Accies who are promoted. Unbelievable. Newton Stewart were just on the brink there. That is a full-time score, and they've actually won the league by one solitary point, taking Falkirk down 54-15. Newton Stewart were waiting it out, but Glasgow Accies have done it at the death. What an extraordinary result that is. Glasgow Accies promoted from Division 2 as champions to play National 1 next year. That is quite extraordinary. Latest scores still coming in. It's Heriots 36, Southern Knights 17. They've got 4 minutes to play in that one at Golden Acre. That's in the Super Series sprint. We're still waiting on confirmation from Millbrae of a final time result. I can tell you that Gala have won 29 points to 28 at Aberdeen Grammar at Rubeslaw. Aberdeen Grammar already relegated, of course, and that's a good win for Gala, who will take on Ayr next week. The latest, of course, we have from Canal Park is Highland 5. It's Kelso 7. If it stays like that, Kelso are champions. I can tell you Hawick Quins are definitely champions. They're up 53 points to 17 at the moment. 4 tries for Nathan Murray, 2 for Watson. Kiori scoring 1 as well. They're still playing there at Bangham. But we'll be back after the break.
To commemorate the 7th anniversary of the opening of the Borders Railway, an 8 DVD box set is now available, featuring the complete series Borders Railway from start to finish, plus the full hour-and-a-half documentary 5 years on, which examines the possibility of an extension to Carlisle, plus extra features including a cab journey along the entire Borders Railway, all for the special price of just £14.99, including post and packing. You can get your copy direct from hotdisc.co.uk/shop. That's hotdisc.co.uk/shop. The 8 DVD box set, The Complete Borders Railway, is available now.
Hi, Nicky Walker here, Curriculum Manager for Borders College Sport. Are you passionate about sport? If so, then look out for the return of our Borders College Rugby, Football and Hockey courses in early 2023.
Borders College, regionally focused, globally engaged.
Based in Galashiels but covering the whole region and beyond, Borders Mortgage Hub is your one-stop shop for all things mortgage related in the Borders. Visit us at bordersmortgagehub.com or call us on 01896 807 008. That's 01896 807 008. Borders Mortgage Hub. Mortgages for the Borders in the Borders.
When the weather's dreich and a storm's a brewing, you need a strong, windproof, quality umbrella delivered with good old-fashioned customer service and at an affordable price. Up here in Umbrella Heaven, we say you tackle the ball, we'll tackle the weather. UmbrellaHeaven.com. Brave the storm.
This is Borders Rugby Special on Borders Rugby Radio.
And news just coming in from Canal Park in Inverness. Kelso have beaten Highland 7-5. They are promoted for the first time since 99 was it? Something like that, a long, long time ago. First time this century anyway. They'll be playing Premiership Rugby next season. Highland 5, Kelso 7. They only needed 1 point. They ended up getting 4, a low-scoring game. That won't matter a jot. And, Robin, you're as excited as I am about that news?
Oh, yeah, absolutely thrilled for Kelso. What an achievement that has been this season. 4 border teams in the Premiership next season. I could not be happier for everyone down there at Kelso. Kev Utterson, Neil Hinnigan, what a job those guys have done. And my word, Andrew Fleming up there is going to be on that bus on the way back, and if Kev Utterson is leading the charge there, then he is going to be in all kinds of trouble. Andrew, pray for Andrew.
Indeed, he's just actually texted us to say we might not get a radio report here because filming post-match scenes, and they are pretty unbelievable. The same with Hugh Brown. Hawick Quins have been promoted, and 53 points to 17 to them. We've just got Sean Muir just coming up now, the captain of Hawick. It's been a great day for the border teams. Hawick have won here at Hughenden by 32 points to 16, and he's now talking with Sam Matthews.
Sean, well, you must be feeling a lot better now than you did at half-time after that final whistle went.
Aye, definitely. Look, the first 40 wasn't what we've planned on. It was pretty flat, and we were dropping off tackles, which isn't like us. When you've seen us during the league campaign, our defence is, I think everybody knows what it's like. But look, the last 20 minutes was what we were about, and I thought we were absolutely outstanding. To put 2 or 3 tries there kind of showed what we were about.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Robin mentioned it on commentary there. Sorry, the relentlessness that you guys can bring to an attacking phase of play with that forwards, because you're big ball carriers, but you're also so dynamic. And then is that something that's really drilled into you, especially when you had that up front battle? As you know, you were watching players get called for districts. There was a lot of district players, especially in those front fives. Did that play a part of yourself, especially in the front row when that came into the game today?
Look, we pride ourselves up front. We know Hawks are a stuffy side. They've got some experienced boys in there, but we've got strength and depth. You see the boys coming off the bench. I thought we put in a great shift. So now we back ourselves up front. We know we've got ball players in there as well. So. And then the 3 weeks off, like you said, a few boys must have appreciated the rest. But how did those first 10 minutes feel for you and the team when that game started off there? The bodies appreciated the rest, but I think the lungs did. It was quite tough out there. But look, we're back into it now, and I'm over the moon to be going to Murrayfield with this club again.
I was about to say, another final for yourself. You going to make it a bit easier than the one against Curry a few weeks ago?
Aye, look, we'll plan ahead now. I think somebody says it's Mar, so we'll look at them and we'll give them all the respect. The Premiership champions last year, so look, I've played at Murrayfield before. I know how tough it is. Hopefully this final goes a lot better than the last one.
Perfect. Well, Sean, enjoy your trip at BT Murrayfield. Thank you for coming across.
Thank you. Cheers. Appreciate it. Thanks.
There we are. Great reaction from the boys there. That was Sean Muir, the captain of Hawick. We'll try and get the Glasgow Hawks version of events very shortly. Sam's now heading out. No doubt they'll be very, very disappointed indeed. But yes, it has been confirmed at Millbrae, Ayr 10, Mar 25. And Robin's here still with us at the moment. A great day for Borders teams, no doubt, but Ayr will be disappointed going down. Mar going down to 14 men with that Ben Johnson double yellow card, which went to red from most of the match, certainly for the second half. But Mar, with people like Colin Sturgeon in the team, old campaigners who know what they're doing, Stuart Collier scoring one back for Ayr, of course, and Jake Jacobson scoring for Mar as well. So that is the final. It's going to be Hawick against Mar at BT Murrayfield, and it's going to be happening on the 6th of May, Coronation Day. But who will be crowned the champions? Can Hawick go just one more match and go through the season unbeaten? Well, we've got the Glasgow Hawks point of view now. Sam Matthews.
Ewan Muirhead here of Glasgow Hawks. Unfortunately for yourself, sir, not victory today, but a very prideful performance you and the boys can take out of that. How was that first half for you when you really took it to the Premiership champions?
I think the past couple of weeks that's what we said we were going to do. Really going to come down and throw the kitchen sink at them. Obviously a big wide pitch, hot in the first half, so we're happy with that, but then dipped off last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, well, yourself and Andy McLean in the winger today, but both fullbacks by trade. You really had a good tandem working there. We noticed that when you guys were taking kicks on, they were trying to clear, they were trying to relent. Was it a real focus on you guys to really make sure you got back up to that line of contact as quickly as possible?
Not really. I don't think neither of us are very comfortable kicking from deep, so running's our only option. Lucky we're half decent at it.
Well, you definitely are very half decent at it. You really took it to Hawick in that first half there. What was the half-time changing room like when you had that score deficit at that time?
It was, let's just keep pushing. Let's really go out. Next 10 minutes are crucial. Over the season we really dipped off in the last 10 minutes after the half, so that's something we wanted to do. I think we did do it, but then obviously kind of let a few in.
Yeah, well, talking about the Premiership and talking about the final half of that season there, you're still in the Premiership for next season. What are you going to take from this game into next season? Now you've shown you can go up against the top of the table and really put them to the sword for 60 minutes.
I think that's a real confidence booster for the boys that are going to be there next season. So we'll come back, hopefully put a good string of performances together.
Yeah, well, Ewan, thank you very much. Unfortunate for yourselves today, but a lot to take off and look forward to commentating next season.
Thank you.
Well, there's some incredible score lines coming in. Melrose 51, Dundee 41, and it's still not over there as yet. So that's an extraordinary score line at the moment, 51-41. A typical sort of end of season result, really, isn't it, for two teams that are kind of out of the equation?
Yeah, pretty much. You always get to this season, part of the season, there's a few dead rubbers, but it gives an opportunity to give the ball some air, to throw it about when there's nothing at stake, and that's potentially what's happened there.
So Melrose scoring 51 points there. Among the scorers, Connor Spence with at least 2. David Colvin on the score sheet. Luke Townsend and Callum Crookshanks as well. Let's just quickly go down the results that we have at the moment. We're still waiting, as I say, for the Melrose result to be totally confirmed. I can tell you that in the Super Series sprint, Heriots have won by 36 points to 22 over Southern Knights. Southern Knights still without a win in that competition. Ayr 10, Mar 25 in the Scottish Cup semi-final match played at Millbrae. Down here at Hughenden, Glasgow Hawks 16, Hawick 32. And, well, really, Robin, I mean, it was right nip and tuck, wasn't it, until the final 20 minutes, and that's when Hawick really put on the pressure.
Yeah, we mentioned it in commentary about, the hallmarks, if you like, of a champion team, and they've not played for a number of weeks, and the first half was a wee bit stop-start, and they sort of struggled to find the rhythm maybe a bit, but as you say, it got to about the 60-minute mark, and it almost looked like they thought, right, enough of this sort of dilly-dally, and they put their, the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and in that period of time, they just absolutely blew Glasgow Hawks away, and that's no slurring Glasgow Hawks. They gave as good as they got for that 60-minute period, but yeah, the big players stood up for Hawick when it mattered. Sean Muir was absolutely immense. Ethan Riley, I said it earlier, for me, the signing of the season by any club. But Callum Rennick, he didn't score today, Callum Rennick, but I thought he was absolutely sensational. Named in the South team yesterday, and rightly so on that evidence. He was absolutely immense this afternoon.
Into National 1 then, some incredible scores as well. Aberdeen Grammar were leading comfortably, 28 points to 10. Gala, red card for them. Back they come, win 29-28 at Rubersall. Aberdeen Grammar, just no luck this season.
Yeah, appears to be the case for Aberdeen Grammar, but we were we were a bit surprised when when Aberdeen Grammar raced into such a commanding lead, and you mentioned that it is it's a different looking Gala side today, but all credit to Gala, down to 14 men. If they, they've come back from a fairly big deficit to win that, and again, nothing to play for, and yeah, it'll be an enjoyable bus journey back down the road. And if there's young boys in and around the squad today, and that'll be a great fillip for them. They'll be able to carry that into next week against Ayr and into next season as well. The wins like that can still be important, and if they've blooded a few youngsters today and they've gone up there for a win, then good on them.
Some huge results today also in National 1. Bigger 47, GHK 14. It's another dead rubber as such, but again at Hartree Mill they'll definitely be celebrating that, because GHK no mugs.
Yeah, that's right, and I think Bigger will be looking to kick on again next season. They weren't really in the reckoning this season, whereas they were last season, so yeah, they'll be looking to build, and that's a good way for them to come towards the end of the season. And yeah, that league's going to be interesting next season. GHA going down, they're going to be no pushover at all. It depends who they manage to maintain personnel wise. So they're in and around. They're going to be in and around it. Melrose, Gala, Bigger, you'd imagine, will come a bit more to the fore again. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting division. And of course, Ayr, unfortunately for them, Ayr are going to be in that division still. They're not going to be in a cup final either. But yeah, there's a few teams that could go well. I probably would back Ayr to just about emerge from that division. But it's going to be interesting, as it always is.
So we're just having a quick look at the league tables as they stand. I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head at the moment, but I'll do my best. So
your brain must be fried. Trying to keep up with goings on at Newton, Stuart, and Glasgow Hawks.
It's all been going on, I can tell you, that's for sure. But yes, we've got Kelso confirmed as champions of National 1, 96 points. That's an extraordinary feature for them. They've gone through the whole season not scoring a 0 anywhere along the line. So they knew this was going to be a tough one today at Canal Park. Obviously, Highland only losing by 2 matches at home this season, so very, very hard to get a result over there. And we all know historically they're not great fans of 3G pitches, are Kelso, but 96 for them. Melrose go into second place with a try bonus. They're on 86. Ayr, of course, are on 82 because they didn't play a league match today. So Melrose go into second. Who knows what's going to happen next week when Gala play Ayr at home, and then Ayr have to go to Stuart's Melville. But at the moment, Highland on 67 points in 4th place with Gala, and we're just trying to kind of work that out in terms of points difference. And in fact, Highland will go 4th tonight on points difference over Gala, but a tremendous comeback for Gala and a very young side there as well. Bigger in 6th with 63. 7th place, it's going to be Dundee with their 45 points. 45 also for GHK, but on points difference they are 8th. 9th is Stirling County, who didn't play today. 10th Watsonians. 11th Aberdeen Grammar, and also Stuart's Melville down in 12th place, who didn't play today. And of course in that league, Watsonians are 5 points adrift of Stirling County. There's one team still to go down, but they have a home match against Aberdeen Grammar. If they get the 5 points, they're up. If they don't, Stirling will stay.
Yeah, and one of the historic big boys, if you like, are going to disappear out that division. And we've mentioned it a few times in the last few years. Just that, things are cyclical. There's just been a wee bit of a sea change in recent times, and there's going to be some big teams, Aberdeens and Stew Mells, and either Watsonians or Stirlings, playing down the divisions. Boroughmuir are already down there, etc. So, yeah, it's just a bit of a different landscape nowadays.
And then we go into National 2, and this is the exciting one, isn't it?
Leave this to you.
My goodness me, this has been a mathematical nightmare all season with so many teams in that mid-division. And remember, 5 going down, and it's still not totally decided. What is decided, though, is the fact that Glasgow Hawks, with 87 points, are promoted to National 1. They needed a win by 38 points. They got a win by 39 points against Falkirk, who were like hot favourites to win that match. An extraordinary ending. Newton Stewart, who of course had played all their games, were sat on 87, and they wanted a win by Glasgow Hawks, but they didn't want a win with that amount of points. So they, even though they've got 87 points, they finish in second. Falkirk finish in third with 85. Peebles sort of out of promotion and relegation issues. They ended up with 67. They of course still have to play Kirkcaldy next week, but they're on 67. And then this is where it gets interesting. Lastwade lost today to Berwick, but they got 1 bonus point. They're on 58. Kirkcaldy in 6th on 57. Berwick, they won the match today by a single point. They got up to 50. Preston Lodge 48, and then it's Dumfries 44, Boroughmuir 29, it's Cartha Queen's Park 21, and Hamilton, who picked up a losing bonus point today, they are on 17 points. So next week it's Penny Pit, and Sam Matthews and I will be there. We're looking forward to it. I think Hugh Brown and Kelly are going to be going there as well, because it's literally down to the wire. It means whoever wins that game is going to be staying in National 2. Whoever loses it, it's down to National 3. And as far as the draw is concerned, well, let me get my abacus out for that one at a later date. But just to go over the results that we've had in the rugby throughout Scotland this afternoon. Heriots versus Southern Knights. In the Super Series sprint, it ended Heriots 36, Southern Knights 22. In the Scottish Cup semi-final, Ayr 10, Mar 25, Glasgow Hawks 16, Hawick 32. So it's going to be Mar against Hawick at Murrayfield on the 6th of May. Into National 1, Aberdeen Grammar 28, Gala 29, Biggar 47, GHK 14, Highland 5, Kelso 7, the result that Kelso wanted to gain promotion. Melrose 51, Dundee 41. That was a final score. International 2, it was Berwick 22, Lastwade 21. Glasgow Hawks 54, 4, Falkirk 15, extraordinary result. Hamilton 20, Kirkcaldy 21. And then in the East League 1, from a Borders perspective, Dun 7, Lithgow 52. The match between Inverness, Leith and Gala YM was postponed, and Trinity Accies 17, Hawick Harlequins 53, and we haven't really given them enough credit, but Hawick Quins are promoted as well. Sam?
Well, they'll be partying on the streets of Hawick tonight, won't they, after those two, one very comfortable promotion victory and one very well-deserved semi-final victory today. Well, I think you can only take away from that there's definitely some good rugby being played in Hawick now, and they're clearly trying to spread it as well. You see the Hawick team in the Premiership here, they're filtering down to East League 3. They're like, it's osmosis. They're getting better by being around them. They're understanding what they need to do. They're understanding how to play rugby. Matty Douglas, a young coach, I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's probably statistically the best, Premiership coach champion, like best coach in Scotland technically, in the amateur ranks, that's for sure. In the club game, he is unbelievable, and he's really celebrating the rugby that's getting played in Hawick as well, which I think is pivotal. And then Lewis Bertram doing a great job with his forwards pack today. We listed how many forwards are in the southern setup and how the forwards play today. At the end there, they really got them over that line with Matty Carrier and Sean Muir the likes. So yeah, I think Hawick have got a bright future ahead of them, and it's clearly going town spread. Happy days down there in Hawick.
And Robin, a good day for the Borders, all in all.
Absolutely fantastic day for Borders Rugby. You spoke about the Quins there. Great win for Hawick here. That sets up a mouth-watering final as they chase down a second double. It's been a while since the first one, but they are going for the second. But yeah, Kelso up there. They had to go up and do a job. They've done that job. And yeah, fantastic day for them. Fantastic day for Borders Rugby. Happy days. Bring on the rest of this campaign and bring on next season.
Looks like we've got a trip to BT Murrayfield coming up.
Indeed, and why not? Let's go up there and see what happens, and we'll be impartial as always, but we'll tilt towards a Hawick win.
Go green.
Well, thanks to Robin, of course, and to Sam Matthews, your commentary team today. Closing headlines tonight in the two Cup semi-final matches. It was a win for Mar and a win for Hawick. They progressed to the final on Saturday the 6th of May at BT Murrayfield. In National 1, promotion for Kelso, victories for Gala, Biggar, Kelso and Melrose. In National 2, promotion for, who would have thought, Glasgow Accies. They needed a 38-point win. They got a 39-point win. Marvellous for them. And a win for Berwick as well, and Kirkcaldy. In East League 3, Hawick Quins are promoted from East League 3. Well, we're back, would you believe, tomorrow at 1 o'clock as we go from the west coast to the east coast, bring you the Berwick Sevens from Scremerston. Next Saturday we're at Langham for the Langham Sevens, round 6 of the K7s, and also the vital shootout between Preston Lodge and Berwick in National 2 to see which one of the two teams will be staying up and which one will be going down. We'll also be at Netherdale for Gala against Ayr. We're on air from 2 o'clock next Saturday. Hope you can join us then. But from me and the team, bye-bye for now.